Oh shit, he's going to.
What happened, Kyle? Breaking news?
Outside of wrestling life. Don't
Oh,
even
okay.
worry about this. It had something to do with my personal life.
Oh, okay. I thought like you were about to say like they just
No, it
found
just happened as we hit recording in progress, and I read
like
it, and I was like,
just
"Oh
found
my God,
the dead of a diamond cutter. All right. Hey
no!"
guys, it's Goots' Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Goots. I got Kyle with me, Kyle Lewis. How you feeling, Kyle?
Good. How are you all doing?
I'm doing good, and I also have Pratik. Pratik, how's life, man?
I'm doing well. How's everybody doing? We're getting some warm weather now. It's starting to feel like summer now.
I mean, it's always summer here in California. You know, it always feels like it's a bash at the beach, and
Yeah.
that's what we're
Uh,
this week on Goots' Wrestling Pod, Bash at the Beach 98. Before we get into that show, just one quick news and note. Um, we talked a lot about Tony Storm and Ronda Rousey last week. It's been revealed that Tony Storm is not injured, but also Ronda Rousey was a one-off to promote her Netflix fight, even though they never mentioned the Netflix fight, even though she punched Tony Storm, even though it was made very, I don't know what it is. This is the second year in a row where they do a major angle and there's no follow up, and then they just will be like, well, it was never supposed to be a follow up. Oh, really? Oh, really? It was never supposed to be. I would imagine they did that back in the day. Hulk Hogan turned heel and then he just vanishes. Like they do Bash to Beach 96, and the next night they just go to like Luger feuding with Arn Anderson the whole show.
I
And
mean,
then
they
like
kind of did. Like Hall and Nash showed up. Hogan doesn't show up for like a week, doesn't he?
but the announcers keep talking about it, like the whole.
Yes, they
I
do
mean, like
talk
in other
about
words, they just
it.
ignore it. They don't do any follow up. They just ignore it.
Yes. Okay.
And then Hogan shows up like 6 months later, back to ready. And then like Eric Bischoff just looks at you on Prodigy and is like, yeah, there was never supposed to be a follow up, but we just thought it'd be fun to have
Prodigy.
Hogan. Like people would they'd be out of business before '98. It's just like, but anyway, the whole thing I wanted to bring up is everyone's being very hush hush about Tony Storm, but there is rumblings that she ruined a lot of storylines for this last second leaving. Everyone thinks she's pregnant. However, some wrestling reporters get mad if you suggest the woman's pregnant. My only thought, if she's not pregnant, is she had another get me the fuck out of here moment like she did in WWE, and she had to get the fuck out. Dave Meltzer, of course, is a very hard hitting reporter. He was told not to ask Tony Khan about this, so he didn't. So, really great that if you're just nice to Dave Meltzer, he'll do whatever you want. It'd be like if Vince McMahon like was nice to if Vince McMahon, if the night after Owen died, Vince McMahon booked like the New
Ooh.
Japan champion to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin. Fucking Dave Meltzer be like, you know what? Owen Hart deserved to die. Actually, he wasn't that even that good of a
Uh,
wrestler. Vince,
Whoa. Whoa.
Starting off hot, I see.
no, he would just been like, oh, I think Vince. It was Vince McMahon had no other choice but to continue the show. Vince is such a great guy that if you cater to him, he kisses your butt. And so he's not asking about Tony Storm. I think that if it's not an injury, and we can't say that she's pregnant because apparently we're not supposed to. We're very misogynist to talk about her being pregnant. All right. Um, then I guess she had another breakdown. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if it's not pregnancy, could be mental health. I mean, it's still if she's out for all of 2026, I don't think it's mental health. Hopefully it's not, something worse like an illness, which is not an injury, but like an illness or something. But it's one of those things. I think it's pregnancy. If we can't talk about it, we can't talk about it. Fine. But in terms of ruining storylines, that's a little harsh. Life happens, you know. If people think she ruined storylines, she's fighting Tekla. Like it's not the end of the world. Like, they'll fight each other again. It's not
I
that
mean,
deep.
I
That
mean,
that
I mean,
means build your fucking roster up then. If Tony Storm can't make it. I mean, Hikaru Shida's playing Yakuza in Japan, the video game, not the
Yeah.
actual Yakuza. She's been playing that for like 2 years. Bring her back. Mercedes Moné can make her way around. They're trying to push Mina. You got Willow, Harley Cameron. You have a roster. I understand the appeal of Tony Storm. I'm a fan of Tony Storm, but This is your like when the Austin would go out. Like this is your time to build somebody up while Tony Storm is out. So instead of looking at actually ruin things, this is what you do. Not to quote Triple H, but this is what you do. You build up more stars,
But
and you can make Tekla look like a beast, and then you could just reinvigorate your women's division. That's what I would do. But that's for whatever reason Tony's out. I just hope she's all right.
yeah, yeah. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think piggybacking off of what Kyle's saying, like this is the time for the women's roster to step up. You can't just have one star. And yes, Tony Storm is great. I think she has that kind of it factor, kind of like similar to Rhea Ripley, where there are people outside of wrestling who there. I still remember watching All in Texas in a bar, and there were people there who didn't like any other wrestling thing on the show. They were just there for Tony Storm. So she does have an it factor. Good for her. But at the same time, we're in an era now where we're not working talent till, something bad happens. Like they're allowed to take time off. We're seeing that in not just AEW, we're seeing that in WWE. People are taking time off for themselves if something personal happens. So yeah, I think unfortunately the internet wrestling community likes to pry and, oh, it could be this or speculate. But, I just hope that whatever is going on, I hope that she's well. I hope that whatever she's dealing with gets resolved. And yeah, there can be myriad of reasons, male wrestlers have taken Keith Lee has taken time off for things where it's like it could be health, it could be personal. He's said on Twitter that it could be, it's a lot of different things. So yeah, I just hope whatever they're going through that works out so that they can come back to this thing that they've dedicated their life to, and they can come back on their terms, and hopefully they get the Tony Tony Khan, excuse me, gets to help them and support them in whatever they're dealing with. And yeah, I think there are plenty of women that can come back and step up. I was a big fan of Thunder Rosa. I don't know if she's still. It feels like there are all these people that were there at kind of the start of AEW that aren't necessarily injured. And they're just kind of doing their own thing. Britt Baker, we still don't know what's going on there. I feel like there was some personal heat, so maybe there's some like, hey, we're still trying to figure things out. So there are people out there that Tony Khan can look to at this time. And I think, yeah, you can't just rely on one person. This isn't the 80s anymore. This isn't the 90s where you need to have a more depth roster, which, as we'll talk about with the Attitude Era and with WCW, like you have the people there, you can implant them, you can put them in, you have big shows coming up, but you also have talent that you can rely. You have other talent from other companies as well, that you can rely on. So I hope everything gets worked out. The Ronda Rousey thing, I did not think
No.
that was going to be a full storyline feud because I know she has the Netflix fight. That was going to be the priority. Maybe this was just a one off appearance. Maybe it leads to something down the road. We'll see. Uh, but yeah, I'm not too concerned because and to me also it wasn't like it was in the middle of a feud. I believe that last match at Revolution was sort of like the blow off match. So to me, it's like she honored her commitment. She's not a title holder or anything right now, Tony Storm. So she's taking some time off after a feud. She was frankly someone like that should take some time off, get the audience back excited. So yeah, I hope whatever's going on gets resolved. As far as all this speculation, I think it's just internet wrestling fans wasting time with things that they don't need to be doing. Just get back to appreciating the matches and get back to booking more things.
Yeah, and I would go so far to say that everybody in AEW is replaceable. I don't think those fans actually care about the wrestlers. I don't think anyone adds something so much to that show that if Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega get hit by a truck, I don't think that show misses a beat. I really don't. I think that the fan base just likes AEW, and if Hangman Page and Kenny Omega quit, you just have Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey go 30 minutes, put on a banger, and that fan base will be happy. So, and if those guys quit, you get two idiots from the independents, or you finally push John Silver. I don't know. I feel like the way Tony books, everyone's replaceable, everyone's interchangeable, and I don't think Tony Storm. If Tony Storm is either she's pregnant or she's depressed or she has cancer of the AIDS, whatever she has, um, let her take the time off because I don't think she impacts anything. To be honest with you.
I think for the women's division, I'm kind of feeling they didn't really know what to do with her after a while. I like the Orange Cassidy stuff. The tag team stuff was a little different. She was champion for a very long time. So what else do you do with her? So I think a break definitely doesn't hurt. This long of a break, who knows? Maybe she'll come back even better. But I think like for the women's division at least, she was definitely one of their top names. Like people were bummed out that she's not gonna be. People were definitely freaking out that she's not gonna be there for a long time, at least online. The men's division is a little different. They have like CM Punk's a good example. They fired CM Punk, and although they had to like rebuild, they had Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, Young Bucks, Darby Allin, they Adam Copeland, Christian Cage. They had a whole bunch of people, which like is the opposite of how like WWE works. If WWE lost to Roman Reigns tomorrow, they would still have their people, but they would be a hit, and you would see it in the quality of the show. Uh, because that's just kind of how they still kind of center things around one person. But for Tony Storm, I think the women's division was centered around one person for so long, and it doesn't need to be. Like I don't understand why Willow. I mean, Willow just had she's still the TBS champion right now, TNT champ, one of the two championships. Why she was not pushed as a bigger deal. Pratik mentioned Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa comes and goes so many times. When she comes back, you're just like, all right, whatever. And then some dumb street fight that like you don't care about. Serena Deeb came and went. Britt Baker came and went. We know Mercedes is Mercedes. Like they just if I don't, I just don't understand taking people off for so long and then not doing anything with them. And then when they come back, of course, no one's gonna care because you haven't seen Hikaru Shida in like 3 years, and now she's number one contender. Why? Like it just, I don't know. I think there's a better way to do it, but I don't make those decisions.
Yeah. Well, I make those decisions, and I
Yeah.
say that she's fired.
Well, if she left, she could go back. I mean, WWE would love to have Tony Storm back. Like, where was all this character last time?
Right.
But I don't think
WWE
that's.
could use her. I feel like Soraya was another one where like she came in. I don't know if there was actual injury. I'm still confused. Was she actually injured or she was off TV? Then you had her for Wembley, but then you didn't do anything big with her because she showed up and did an angle on the pre-show. I'm like, you have one of the UK's like homegrown stars and you don't even put her in a big match. So I hate to keep shitting on Tony Khan. I know we love to do that on the show, but like it seems like there was either some booking issues, communication issues, backstage issues. It seems like he's just juggling a lot of stuff, and it's really concerning because you have the talent there and you could do amazing things. It just seems like something isn't clicking, or maybe there's not enough talent relations to kind of mediate things and coordinate. It seems like it's a lot of communication issues. That's what I'm feeling like it is.
I think it's that the male and female roster has too many people. He's juggling this plus Ring of Honor plus whatever other non-wrestling responsibilities he has. People
That's
get
true
lost
too.
in the shuffle, and they get lost in the shuffle a lot. And some people can survive it, some people can't. I know we mentioned the favorite name Lee Moriarty a lot, but like he shouldn't, like he should, like why should I care? You know what's a better name than Lee Moriarty? Vance Archer. Lance Archer. Vance Archer's the
That's another
WWE name.
man.
They bring him out every time, like, oh, here's an intimidating force. This guy never wins. Why should I care that Lance Archer is fighting Adam Page when Lance Archer has never won a damn wait, what's his fucking AEW name?
Lance
Lance
Archer.
Wait, right? It's Lance Archer?
Yeah, I still remember he debuted with Jake the Snake as his manager. Like that,
Yeah.
like talk about being strapped to the moon
He
with a
did,
huge
he
thing.
did, he did squash Colt Cabana and during the pandemic. So come on, man.
What was that? Was
Lan-
that on Ring? Was that on AEW Dark?
It
Like
might have
it
been
wasn't
Oh,
even
it
on
was
Dark.
on
Real.
Dynamite. It was on Dynamite during the pandemic. It was
Okay,
in the TNT tournament for the because the finals of the TNT tournament were Cody versus the
Cody and
Merc.
Lance. Yes, yeah.
So
So
he has
which
that
one
going
was
for
he
him.
Lance Hoyt in? TNA? I'm
Yeah,
still I'm still
Vance
lost on his
Archer.
name right now. But no, just
Talk about
using
a
like
guy who I get you don't want him to lose to you. You don't want him to beat Cody, whatever. But like he didn't get any. He hasn't gotten any big wins. Like you could have put him with Lee Moriarty. Like give him somebody that you feed him someone that he could like look strong to
he should be
outside
like
of
a
Colt
squash
Cabana.
guy. Yeah, I know he's a little older now, but he should be a squash guy.
Yeah.
everybody dies. That's the whole thing. And then everybody dies when they fight. Not literally, but like, and then that's why you're like, oh shit, this is an intimidating force. And to play devil's advocate, WWE has that problem too. You look at
No.
someone like a
Yeah.
Rusev, and you're like, oh well, we know you're not
Why
gonna
should
win.
I care?
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I just think there's better ways to utilize people. Again, easier said than done. I don't have the pencil.
Rusev's most memorable moment in WWE's return was yelling at a kid in the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah, it was. And then he
Like,
got
don't touch
washed
me.
by he got washed by Obafemi. So it's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
what's next for you, buddy? Go to good luck in AAA. Yeah, maybe he could fight
Yeah.
Luke Parker or
That would
something.
actually be good for him, actually, terrorizing just the luchadors and Mac. That could be a good because he does work well with smaller opponents.
He's just
Talking about
beating up
Rusev?
Octagon
Yeah,
Jr.
Rusev.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Lana just started stand up, so maybe he can, he could be her. He could be the Dan Lamort to her Natalie Cuomo.
He
You know?
did
Okay.
when the Nemeth brothers did their show at the Comedy Store for that. I think it was Mania 39. He came up on stage and he told like a knock knock joke. I shit
Oh
you
Oh,
not.
boy. I mean,
well, there
they're
you
back for
go.
Mania. If you guys are going, they're doing another hunk of Mania. They add one. I
Hunkamania.
yeah,
Yeah, Dan Barry, friend of the show, is going to be on it. Yeah.
yeah. I did one when they were
Where are
here
they
for
doing it? At a comedy
Slammiversary.
club or something in Vegas, or like Jimmy Kimmel? Or
I don't know. I don't know the
It's like
name.
some weird old club they're doing it at.
But I know that people had fun last time, from what I heard, and when they did in New York, fans had fun. So if you guys, people listening, or even you guys, if you guys gonna be around, I'm gonna be in New York. Hunkamania, check them out.
I've
Not
been to
paid,
their shows before.
not paid
Shout
for
out
this
to
plug.
Ryan and Nick. They curate a fun lineup. The one at the store was wild. Bubba Ray was in the audience for that,
Oh
and he
boy,
was these comedy store waitresses and servers. They're not familiar with all the wrestlers, so like I just remember Bubba Ray just yelling at a 16-year-old server, just being like, "What do you want? Can you get me a Coke now?" I'm just like, she doesn't know that you're being a heel right
what a surprise.
now. Yeah,
Bubba Ray was a
Bully
damn.
Ray not reading the room correctly. I love Bully Ray though, so.
The other thing I want to talk about real quick before we jump into 1998, where life really has.
Okay, it's at the Nerd Bar. Is the next
Yeah,
show?
it's at the ball place. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Not really, but I'm still excited. Okay, so the,
Herdamania. It's not hunk.
the next thing to talk about really quick is people more AEW drama. People in AEW were upset at Kyle Fletcher. He said that All Out Texas was the worst day of his life, and not because he
All
injured
in
Adam,
Texas.
because he's not really that good of a wrestler, because he wasn't able to win the belt in a fake match, and people are pissed at him. Listen, here's the deal, Brian. I have been suspected this, and every time I've said this to people, I've got shouted down that Kyle Fletcher essentially ended Adam Cole's career with that apron spot. Brian Alvarez says it outright yesterday on his podcast. And if he's saying it like that with confidence, that means someone in AEW confirmed to him that Kyle Fletcher ended Adam Cole's career. Here's the thing with Kyle Fletcher. He's not as good as Dave Meltzer says he is. He's not as good as the internet says he is. He is good, but he can do a lot of things, but he doesn't always do them safe, and he shouldn't be doing everything he's doing. He needs a coach. He needs NXT. He needs a Shawn Michaels. I hate to say it. They don't have a Shawn Michaels in AEW, but someone needs to rein him the fuck in, because now that Brian Alvarez said it, this motherfucker ended the career of someone who could have been a difference maker in AEW. Or in WWE if he ever went back. I mean, I guess he could be a manager or an announcer in WWE, but this was the guy.
Sorry, I don't
Well,
mean to laugh. That was the reason that he left. Because they were gonna make him a manager.
I think his destiny is being a manager at this point. He can't. God is basically saying, like, you should just been a. If he had been Keith Lee's manager, I think right now he would be main eventing against Roman Reigns, not CM Punk. I'm dead ass serious. I think he
I
would have.
don't think so. I think he would have been fired by that
I
because you
think
still
he
have
would
to
have
go
got
through
there.
a year of Vince.
Yes, you had another
I
year.
think
That
Vince didn't leave for
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
If
no.
it
I
was
think
2022, I'll give you that. If it was 2022 and it was June of 2022, and then Vince was gone a month later, he would have definitely been like SummerSlam, Undisputed Era, whatever,
no. See,
attack
I think
ending the show or something like that.
Vince made Roddy Piper a manager when he first showed up. Roddy Piper was the manager for David Schultz and Paul Orndorff, and he proved to
Right.
Vince who he was. And Vince respected that, and then he got to main event the first ever WrestleMania and become one of the biggest stars ever. I think Adam Cole. I think the reason why Vince wanted Adam Cole as a manager because I want you to prove to me that you're the new Roddy Piper. And I think that Adam Cole would have proved it. I really do believe that it was a test for Vince. Now, if Adam Cole half-asses it, yes, he would have got fired. But I think if Adam Cole took to that position and ran with it, I think right now, whether Vince pooped on anybody or not, or got kicked out or not, I think whoever's in charge, he's a champ, and his head's not fucking injured by Kyle Fletcher. But the thing about it is this: we have to. I think with this Kyle Fletcher guy, he's a young guy. All this glazing, especially from old heads, has gotten to this kid's head. He's not as good as he thinks he is. He could be something really great. But he needs tough love. And people nowadays don't get tough love, and they just think that they're great. And no, you're not that fucking great. And if you were that great, Adam Cole would still be going bebe in the ring. So I don't know. What do you think? I was shocked that Brian Alvarez just out and out said that. You know, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kyle Fletcher, I mean, he's definitely one of the brighter spots in AEW, even though sir, you can have safety concerns with him. I think AEW has coach. I don't know what's going on back there. Again, I don't work there. But they have coaches. They have all these wrestlers. I remember William Regal claimed that they don't want to listen, people don't want to learn, things like that. But they have like a Brian Danielson. I know the bigger guys, I think they have Paul White. They have Colt Cabana, whatever you think of Colt Cabana, they have people who are like wrestlers and then people you can learn from. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on back there. I think this was just I think it was just a bad accident. Adam Cole, it's not like Adam Cole's, it was Adam Cole's first match and he got hit and it was over. Adam Cole was just coming back from multiple injuries. He had a match either the night before. I don't know if that was I can't remember if that was a live collision or not. No, he has the collision match. That's where it happens. But I know he was wrestling pretty frequently when he came back, and he doesn't wrestle like for lack of a better term WWE style matches anymore. He wrestles those hard hitting ROH matches. He's a little older, so that's also going to catch up to him. I'm not saying that Kyle Fletcher shouldn't be more careful. He should. Everyone should. But I think it's just a terrible thing that happened. I don't want to put the full blame on Kyle Fletcher. I don't know his exact words about what he said about the people getting the worst day of his life. Because when I saw that headline, I thought it was about Adam Cole and just kind of feeling bad. But I can also imagine him being upset because this was supposed to be his moment and it just didn't happen. Whatever. But I don't. I do think that safety is important, and whoever's back there should be teaching these people to be more safe. But also, I think Adam Cole was a little run down, a little run down. Not as I don't think that doesn't mean he still can't go, but it's not like he had a lot of what do they say, notches on the bump card. He already had a lot there, and it was just one bad bump, and you never know when that bump's gonna be. Let's like look, Ricky Steamboat, for example. He hurt his back doing something very simple. You never know when that bump is, and it's just unfortunate that someone like Kyle Fletcher, who is a high impact kind of wrestler.
Yeah, yeah, and you know it's unfortunate Kyle Fletcher was born. That's the worst part.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Critique your thoughts on Kyle Fletcher ruining everyone's life.
I think it's one of those things where, yeah, it's a. I'm trying to read the remark here because I hadn't read the remark. Yeah, it just looks like it's poorly worded, uh, which AEW seems to have multiple issues with younger talent saying poorly worded things in the media. I mean, Tony Khan says a lot of poorly worded things in the media, so I don't know if they just need a proper media savvy PR team for these wrestlers. Like, with WWE, those wrestlers are getting media trained, especially if you're doing press, there's media training that can be done. Because they already had a history with that fucking Sammy Guevara saying what he said. Like, just, and that's the thing. I don't want Kyle Fletcher to go
That
the
was
way of
before he
Sammy
got
Guevara.
hired. That was before he got hired when he said that.
Right, yeah. But he also had some, yeah, maybe he didn't have, he wasn't saying things, but he had a lot of backstage issues and he was getting in fights.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I just don't want
No,
Fletcher to go the
think
way of
about Todd
Guevara.
Banks before they hired him.
Yeah, I think Fletcher is a good hand, good talent. He's had some memorable moments in the company, and he's driven interest in the company. So I don't want him to, he's still very young. So I think some of these issues that are happening are, he's still too green, and he needs, again, either needs more coaching or some reining in maybe. And I think some of the issues that we're talking about with AEW is some of these newer talents, aren't being reined in. Whether it's by, I mean, Tony Khan needs to be instead of just talking about Clash of Champions from 1988 or whatever, like he needs to be the boss, and take control with some of these younger guys. Not everything needs to happen when it does. You can work smarter, not harder. We all love Darby Allin, but I'm like, I feel like he's one drop away from, I don't know if he has a death wish, but
I don't
and some of the things that he's doing on like regular TV or at house shows, I'm like, you can save those. I think you need to make it more special. So yeah, I think some reining in across the board needs to happen. And I don't want to be like, oh, WWE knows what it's doing, but I do think the coaching there and the trainers there are just better at telling talent, hey, this is how you work smarter, not harder. It's not just about the WWE style. It's about no, you're making the moments count when they do. You can't just do these moments, on a random dynamite or a random collision. I think that's the bigger issue here is these matches are getting thrown together with very little build, and these things are just happening in the match, and like, oh wow, that happened. Well, what else you got? Because there's no story behind it. And I think that's the bigger issue here is just there needs to be some reining in and better molding of the talent. And also on another level with the all in Texas moment. I mean, yes, Fletcher was upset, but also like what Dustin Rhodes doesn't deserve to win a belt in Texas where he's from. Like I thought that was a beautiful moment for Dustin Rhodes, and then he went on to and then Fletcher won literally not even a month later. It was less than 28 days later on a higher profile stage in at the Aragon Ballroom. AEW is running these shows that they hadn't run there before. So it wasn't like he didn't win that title. It was delayed for a little bit, but to me, it was a bigger than platform because he got to interrupt and there was more storyline there. It actually, I think it personally was a better win for him at that time. But that's maybe he was frustrated that day or whatever and misspoke, whatever. But yeah, I think some media training is needed, some reining in is needed, and again, just better leadership backstage. Again, we've talked about like what is going on with the veteran minds. You've had so many people back there that they can learn from, but it seems like just the younger stars don't want to work or don't want to learn rather. So yeah, somebody needs to take control backstage because it's not that there's this over glaring problem. It's that no, we just need a little bit of reining in and maybe a little bit like just tweaks here and there, and it can work out better for everybody.
I just saw that just the power of the internet. He does mention Adam Cole. It's just not what anyone ever talks about. He says, obviously, this is my perspective. It's very hard for me to complain about it because I don't feel like I have the right to complain about it. But yeah, it was very emotional in a lot of different ways and not how you want a big day like that to go. And he's talking about having a better all in than last time. But he did mention, at least the article did mention it pales in comparison to what Adam Cole did
I
because he
think
was
it's just
very
poorly
stressed. His
worded.
mom was there. Yeah, it just you know how these places go. They take
Yeah.
one quote. Still not a smart thing to say,
No,
but they take one quote and that's the quote, and
and
nobody
then they
reads
just
the rest.
yeah.
But Brian Alvarez, I don't know. That's a really weird. I think sometimes people just need something to fight about online, and um, that's what I think there. Like he's just the person of the day. The donkey of the day, as Charlemagne used to say. I don't know if they still do that on the Breakfast Club. He's the donkey of the day, and but I do think, like we were saying before, better media trading and just like you don't have to go so hard all the time. Like some of his matches are like, why are there seven false finishes in a match with this guy on Dynamite? I don't get it. But again,
Yeah,
I don't run it. Fans seem to
I mean,
love it.
yeah, I know they said, as someone I watched, I think I said this last week, I watched Dynamite and it fucking stunk. And then I did a show this week, so I missed it, and I go check Blue Sky, and they're all like, "This is the best episode ever." I'm like, "Is every episode the best episode ever?"
I think people just like their sports entertained or whatever you call pro wrestling entertained because it's not sports entertainment.
Well,
They had the
I
Kenny Omega MGF thing. Tekla and Mina Shirakawa was good. I miss Darby Allin and Roosh. The show is fine. I don't know. Every both brands, both companies, the week to weeks are for the most part just fine to me. There's rarely anything that's like egregious where I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen. Sometimes they're boring. Both shows can be boring, but I don't ever any no show this year have I been like, I have wasted my entire life watching this. Like, in my opinion, maybe I'm just too lenient on those shows.
Yeah, I
Uh,
feel like I'm in the same boat, but it's also like I'm also there'll be weeks where I'm only watching YouTube highlights, so I'm like, oh, these highlights are pretty good. I'm not sitting through the full 2 hours, but I did catch the big match Omega and Swerve, and I thought that was so. It seems
Yeah.
like there is something notable, but it's also like, yeah, I guess I'm not like tuning in thinking about angles every week to week, and I think we've talked about this before with like just building the week to week dynamites or building the week to week collisions. Usually, oh, they're doing this match, all right. I'll check this out. Oh, this is happening on Collision, or I have a friend in the UK. He's constantly like seeing things and he'll be like, hey, you should watch this on Collision. I don't think I've watched a full Collision in a while, to be honest. Actually, I seem to be
They
catching more
try to get
diamond.
people to
Yeah,
collisions where some of the big stuff happens. Like Ciampa's heel turn was on Collision. I'm like,
that was
wait,
on
what?
Collision. You're right, right. And I believe
And
the big, yeah, his first big match was on Collision too. If I'm not
yeah, they try and get you to really give a shit about Collision, after not caring for so long.
right.
Speaking of Adam Cole, the Young Bucks say he's getting better and better every day. I mean, he can play video games, which still, some of these
Cognitive, yeah.
concussion system symptoms, you can't really play video games and stuff. So he's still doing his streaming career, which I think is an impressive second career for him because there are people in his thing that didn't even know he was a wrestler in his like Twitch stream. They just thought he was some handsome Twitch streamer guy. And now he is hopefully he'll be back. I know it doesn't look good, but he's still pretty young, even if it's a couple years, 3 years. We've seen people come back from concussions. We've seen people come back from broken necks. So I hope the best for Adam Cole. He's a really nice guy. You should see him like react to game. It's like the happiest gamer I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah, no, I know he does like gaming, but you know what? I don't like. I don't like. I just don't. I just think they're all horrible human beings, and the cops should arrest them. Everyone involved.
Yeah, he's only 36, so even if he's out for a couple years, I know he was already out for a couple years. Um, he still has some time. People are
Yeah,
wrestling into their 50s. Look at Edge. Look at I was gonna
yeah,
say CM Punk, but he's not 50 yet.
I mean, Sting wrestled. What was the last? It was like 61 or
yeah.
something for the last match.
Yeah.
One second.
Yeah.
All right, now that we're done with all the news that we got to talk about, let's talk about Bash to the Beach '98. I think I remember feeling this way in that summer, and and if you ask any of these wrestling journalists now, that WCW already felt over around this time. I rewatching the show, I thought it was a pretty good show, and I still think that they could have turned it around. I still think that there were people in place that if they got serious about them, that they still could have been competitive with WWF into 2000, but they had to start the next night, and clearly they didn't. But there's still like there's still places and there's still things happening that if they got serious about it, they could turn the company around. And I didn't think that before, but when I'm watching the show, I'm like, yeah, this isn't that bad of a show, and there's a lot of momentum from what they did with Goldberg. But as soon as Hulk Hogan goes Goldberg's next, it's like he's already plotting how to get his win back, and not like not completely ruin Goldberg and the company. But he's already like he. I have a feeling if Goldberg didn't get injured in '99 and Hogan didn't get injured in '99, and then like WWF just fucking destroyed them, I think Hogan eventually would have beat. I think the plan for Hogan in his mind, and this time is, okay, I'm just gonna bide my time until I can beat Goldberg, and I don't know, but I overall I enjoyed this show. Kyle, what do you think?
No, I thought it was a fine show. I did see the reviews and there's like a review that the guy from 401 Mania who reviewed it like 12, 13 years ago, maybe longer. Like he hates every WCW pay-per-view, which is kind of crazy. It's like why'd you even watch these? But I think I think it was a fine same WCW stuff. Like it's like the matches, the undercard for the most part is okay. The main event, like I know it's Rodman, Karl Malone, Dennis, I mean, and like Diamond Dallas Page, Hulk Hogan. So going into it now, even going into the then, I'm not expecting much. Goldberg looked great. The Rey Mysterio surprise I thought was good. Juventud Kidman is probably doing the more standout matches. So I didn't have a problem watching it. It wasn't compared to even some other ones. It didn't like it didn't drag. It was just a kind of it was a pretty smooth show. Even like the giant Kevin Green wasn't like egregious, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't
Uh,
that bad.
yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm not saying it was good, but it was just like I didn't. It wasn't like when will this end? I was like, all right, well, this is gonna be over. This is over quicker than I thought it was. But I think I always call this the revenge roster because almost everyone in this game was in the video game. They definitely had a good roster that could have turned things around because Raw wasn't dominating. Yeah, Raw was winning. Raw was doing a good job, but I believe Nitro won the ratings that Monday when Goldberg won the title. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say they did win the ratings, so like it wasn't set in stone. And
They keep going back and forth
yeah,
until October, and then it's
yeah.
over.
Yeah, or I know the WWE narrative is the Mick Foley, like once Foley, they do the spoiler, then they never win again, and that's when it happened. But with the momentum that Goldberg had and just the rest of that undercard, things could have been different, but that's as we see, that's not what happened.
Yeah, that's not what happened, and our lives were ruined. Pratik, overall, your thoughts on the show?
Yeah, overall, like, it definitely felt like a tighter, less bloated show than some of the other WCW pay-per-views we've reviewed. Certainly, there's a bit of a bias on my end because like this literally was, I remember the build for this pay-per-view. I remember the hype behind it, and it definitely like see my childhood, again. And yeah, even the spots that were weak, like it just things were clicking a bit more, and I think there was a lot of focus on the mid. I mean, again, the undercard is pretty solid. It felt like it felt like focus was there all around, and yeah, I really enjoyed even the parts that weren't necessarily working. I still enjoyed them. So yeah, I really enjoyed this pay per view compared to some of the other W7 pay per views. Yeah, if you were to take this snapshot, I still think fans need to go back and watch this because at this point in time, WCW is showing a lot of progress, and they have a great pay per view right here, and it feels like they would win based on what happened, the shock moment that happened, on the Nitro leading up to this. So it's like you have all these good moments, and then you just I don't know, it does kind of piss me off a little bit because I'm like, oh, you had all these things, you had all these pieces, you had all these ingredients, and then just how do you fuck it up? I think that's what bothers me more because yeah, there were so many things that were working, but then they just I don't know. It's this is still where I'm seeing the things not crack yet. I think this was a good pay per view, and I think it was a good outing for them. It just I don't know how do you fumble it from here? I think that's what's boggling my mind.
Yeah, yeah. How do you? And I mean, and they fumble and they fumble and they fumble and they fumble. But yeah, like how do you? Like there need to be like I'll tell you the number one thing. The number one thing looking back, the fact that the Wolfpack isn't doing anything. The
Hmm.
fact that like they're feuding with fucking Disco Inferno, like every pay-per-view should be a civil war between the Wolfpack and Hollywood. Like this show should have had Sting versus Scott Steiner or Sting versus Scott Hall or Nash versus Hall or something. Every pay-per-view. And you should have built, I mean, it's all there. You just build to Wolfpack versus Hollywood at War Games. And then maybe Wolfpack wins, and then Nash is like, okay, thanks to me winning, I'm now going to challenge Goldberg at Starcade. Like I'm going to bring it to the Wolfpack. But like the fact that like, what is the Wolfpack's purpose? Like this, the crazy thing is like this is the third pay per view now where the Wolfpack's involved, and they're barely in the storyline. It's like they're the New Day, and like like they're not doing anything. And to me, it's like that's a problem. That's because it first of all, it's a good problem to have because people like the Wolfpack. People to this day like the Wolfpack. If during the invasion angle, if Triple H didn't get injured and Road Dogg didn't get fired, if they had done the '98 DX versus the Wolfpack. I'm talking Nash, Conan, Luger, and Sting. Let's say it's Survivor Series 2001. Bro, that WCW angle would have been hotter. They could have brought back Nitro based on that match. People still love the Wolfpack, and the Wolfpack did shit. So imagine if the Wolfpack was actually more involved in everything. Um, it's just you're teaching people not to care about the Wolfpack, and clearly people do. I still have fucking Wolfpack merch, not this shirt, but I still have Wolfpack merch to this day, and they stunk.
They're pretty hot.
I
I
saw
I
so many
think
Wolfpack t-shirts in the summer. It was wild. Yeah.
you know what
Yeah,
a thing that it's a really I remember I had to go to like my I went to a Catholic school, but I had to go to like the orientation or I called it like Buddy Day, which I think after for a Catholic school they probably shouldn't call it that,
Nah.
but they they took me to the school and they showed like, oh, this is how fun the school is. And I remember they showed the art room and like I don't know what year I guess they filmed this, but somebody in the art class did an NWO Wolfpack and they had it like on this in the video. They drew like the logo and painted it and I remembered it and I was like, that's why I'm going to the school. That's not why. But it was like they were popular. They were very, very popular. And this kind of goes back to what we were saying. WCW, similar to AEW now, has so many people. But I also didn't even realize Sting wasn't on this show. Unless he was with I don't think he was with the Wolfpack. I remember he wasn't with them, right?
where no, he's in the storyline. He is. He's not with the. He doesn't
No,
come
no,
out.
not that. He didn't come out at the show.
Yeah, he didn't come out. No.
It's just
But
Nash
he
and
was
Luger.
aligned with
Yeah,
them, I believe.
yeah. No, that part I knew. I just didn't remember seeing his face this week, and
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
why. But I just didn't realize Sting wasn't on the show. Like Scott Hall didn't have a match. I realized that at the end when he comes out, and you're just like they have so many people that like you just sometimes they didn't know what to do with them, and you're like, okay, where is Sting? And I think that's a problem when you have like a very very bloated roster, and that also kind of played to a factor of why things just didn't work out. They didn't know what to do with just talented but enormous roster that they had.
Yeah,
Unless
and
Sting was going through the personal, I know he had a lot of personal problems within that year, or he's
no, I
filming
think he found
movies
God.
or
I think he
something.
found God by now. I think. I can't. I can't. I know in '98 because in 2000 he did an interview where he's like, "Oh, I love Jesus." It was like February 2000 when but he said it was for.
He found you. Yeah, he found religion or something, right?
Where he allegedly ratted out everybody for
Oh.
adultery. He had a lot of heat.
Yeah, Jesus hit him up, but I didn't say be a rat. I said be um, Pratik. What do you give me your thoughts on the wolf?
I hate it because I do love Sting, but it almost feels like the what helped this paper was that there wasn't a ton of fake Stings or is Sting gonna turn, these weird like fuddy duddy like screwy storylines that have plagued all these pay-per-views we've been reviewing and getting annoyed by these weird finishes and we're like we gotta fuel these angles. It felt like there was less of that on this pay-per-view. Maybe that helped it.
Yeah,
Definitely was.
yeah,
It was a bit
definitely.
more straightforward, if that makes sense. This
Yes,
pay-per-view.
yes. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start going over the show. First thing off, I love the fact that the announcers are dressed like dads on vacation. I really wish they would. Really wish they would bring shit like this back. Just these little touches, like and again, I said this again when at the Great American Bash, summer is here. When Tony Schiavone started that show like that, I love these little touches that make like it's the it's the summer and it's July. And this is when the dads go on vacation, so we're gonna dress like dads going on vacation. I really like that. Bobby Heenan seems also very sober and very caring on this show. He actually seems like he gives a shit on this one. Maybe because he thinks ESPN's watching and they're gonna hire him. But yeah, I love the announcers gear. I wish like why can't AEW do this? Tony Schiavone probably still has these shirts. Like they should wear dad Christmas. They should dress in costume on Halloween. Wear ugly Christmas sweaters at Christmas.
They didn't
Um,
do that? I thought they did that at some point.
well, I don't know. Bobby
They
Kyle
might have
Fletcher.
worn one of the years there was a Halloween show. They might have worn a costume or two, but they didn't really. They could have played with it a bit more if they.
Yeah, maybe Kyle Fletcher
play
hit
up the
my
camp a little bit more in AEW.
yeah,
It's a nerdy comic book audience, not for the all, not entirely, but you could play to that crowd a little bit with some of the goofier stuff.
but to me this isn't like to me this isn't corny. This is like the celebration of the passage of time, you know? To me it's
Mm.
like it just like it's celebrating July of 98. And I feel like every pay-per-view should do that. Like it's a privilege to be alive in January of 99. That makes
It
any
feels
sense.
good to be alive in a January of 1998.
Yeah, or July
CM Punk
98.
would say.
So the
July.
first
Think of that. I botched it. I want to get to that real quick. It's also probably a product of the time because I remember just in the summer, just kind of the product of like not wanting to put on new programming. Like Nickelodeon would have like Nick Summer in the afternoon. They would do their like it's Six Stickley and he's wearing the Hawaiian stuff, or like Cartoon Network would do the same before they went Toonami. They would do the same thing and they would have like their characters or things like that, or even MTV to be MTV on the beach. And like it was all this, every television shows just had that, like, hey, it's the summer vibe. So you knew what you were watching. And you had that kind of energy for the whole time, which is a lost art in in my opinion. But it definitely like you felt the theme when everybody was doing that, and you don't have that anymore in TV at all.
and now it's just it doesn't exist and we shall be
Some dark
sure.
Netflix colors, and
Yeah.
that's it.
Netflix
So
at the
Exactly.
so let's get to the first match. It's Ravens rules, Saturn versus Raven. This is actually a pretty good opener. It's a fucking mess. These guys are going nuts. The only thing I didn't like was Canyon interfering. Kind of feel like this Canyon storyline's already done, but this was a fun garbage opener. I really enjoyed it. Kyle, what do you think?
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good look for Saturn. Raven continues to be a highlight of the shows, which again, another person that you could have put in there. You could have, if the NWO Wolfpack is feuding with each other and Raven's done with Saturn, why doesn't Raven and the Flock want revenge on Goldberg, who took the U.S. title from Raven? This is just armchair TEW booking that I'm doing, but you could have made something more with this guy, and it just didn't happen. But I thought the match was good. The Canyon interference definitely kind of weird. I think they didn't know where they wanted to go with Raven. They had him in this feud. They had him in like two different feuds at the same time, and that kind of hurt. But I enjoyed the opener.
Yeah, no, I did too, and I just think they're so good at garbage, these two. Like, and I mean that in the best possible way. I'm not saying like their match was garbage, but they're so good at these like plunder matches. Critique your thoughts.
No, this was a great opener. I think you need when you had all these eyes on the product, you need something that's kind of a little bit different to start with. I think as we've been reviewing these WCW pay-per-views, like the openers have been fine, but this I think this was a good way to really start the show when they had a lot of eyes on them. And yeah, I always love playing as Raven in the video game, and I know he was on the cover of the Revenge game because the developer just like nobody told the developer to put him on the cover, just the developer really liked him. So the fact that Raven was getting, a good little spotlight moment was good. Again, good use of hardcore, because we've seen so many hardcore matches that just kind of, peter out, whereas this was like, no, it worked. It wasn't that long too, wasn't too bloated. So yeah, good opener. I didn't mind the little angle or run in thing. It was what it was. But yeah, it was a good way to get the crowd going. And you needed that on the show.
No, 100% you did. You did. Next up, Mean Gene interviews Eddie. Eddie's not Eddie yet, but it's still a good promo. Chavo's gonna fight Stevie Ray, then Eddie. And even though what happens later happens, still doesn't make any sense. But I thought this was a good pro. I really wish WWE put out that Eddie Guerrero shirt again. Eddie Guerrero is my favorite wrestler. What did you think, Kyle?
The promo was fine. I had nothing against the promo. That used to be my favorite shirt. The cheat to win. The cheat to win needed to be on the back because I know a lot of people try to remake that shirt and they don't add the cheat to win. WWE, I think, never remade the shirt for whatever reason. I think like Barbershop Window and all those places tried. Rest in peace, the Barbershop Window, before they became pro wrestling tees or got taken by them. But no, I thought the promo was fine. Definitely one of my favorite Eddie Guerrero shirts, and we're gonna see more of him really, really soon.
Yeah, I'm excited. Pratik, your thoughts on this promo from God?
Yeah, I mean it's he's we're seeing Eddie come into his own, and I think if you're a big Eddie Guerrero fan but didn't get to see all of his catalog, this is a good little snapshot in time of who he was and how he was becoming and coming into his own. So yeah, I like this stuff. It's great. I think it's good that they're kind of giving talent these little moments to shine, whether it's through promo or vignettes or whatever. And you'll notice that throughout this pay per view, they'll do recaps, they'll do kind of whatever you call them, like just yeah, the summaries before the match. I think it's good that they're trying to do that a little bit.
Yeah, no, I really fun. I enjoyed it. Up next, we have another banger. It is your best friend, Juventud Guerrera, taking on Kidman. This was great. These two had really good chemistry. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. With the push that Juventud Guerrera is getting right now in '98, if you sat me down this summer and said, "What's going to be the main event of Starrcade 2004?" I'd probably be like, Juventud probably going to get the belt because the way they're pushing him, he'll probably be their Shawn Michaels, so mature enough by then. Obviously, none of that happened, but they're really giving a concentrated push to Juventud. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this because now, even with acting, they look at your Instagram numbers, and I think a lot of people they want you to make yourself a star, and then they'll use you. Perfect example of that is Danhausen. Danhausen made himself a star. Now look at him. And no, that's not the way it works all the time. Juventud's a star because right now they're telling us he's a star. We remember Juventud and we don't remember Lismar Jr., although I do. I'm talking about the person. Because WCW said you need to remember Juventud. And it's working here right now. He has a great match and he stands out. And whenever he comes out while we're going through this journey, I look forward to seeing Juventud. If you run a company or you run a TV show or whatever, this person's a star because I say they're a star. Can you imagine? And I'm not saying that Friends is like the greatest show ever, but can you imagine if like Instagram was around when they cast Friends and like, or The Office, fucking what's his name? Jim on The Office was a waiter at a bar, and they're like, well, you don't have enough Instagram followers, so we can't hire you for the fucking office. No, like you told me Jim's a star, and now he's fucking Jack Reacher, or where the fuck he is on Amazon. You told me he's a star, and I believed you. And that's what you need to do. I think sometimes in wrestling, if you tell me somebody matters, they matter. And Juventud and Kidman, and brings back to Juventud and Kidman, both had a great match. And they're going to do this later with Kidman. After the flock ends, they tell you Kidman matters. We already know that Kidman's a great worker just from this match. I think this was the first match I realized Kidman is more than just a guy who's standing there. And again, like you can do this. You can make it. You can make it so that I'll never forget. Fucking, I don't fucking know. Well, they're doing it right now with Obafemi. You tell me someone matters, they matter. But it doesn't matter even if they're a little guy like Juventud. You tell me he matters, he's gonna matter. So great match. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, if not the best match on the show, one of the higher points of the show. You're absolutely hitting the nail on the head. You make somebody important, and they're gonna treat them as important. Nine times out of ten, that works with Obafemi, works with Ryback, Rey Mysterio. I'm going back to like 2002. We already knew who he was, but for the people who didn't know who he was, the vignettes, the like flipping and all that, like, oh, this guy is crazy. And then having him debut and then jump off the cage, you're like, this guy is here. So you do something like that for Juventud and WCW, which they were trying to do, give him big profile matches, have him feud with the Flock, just trying to get him noticeable. It worked. It's why he's not Super Kello, why he's not Liz Mark Jr., why he was in the WWE years later, because he was somebody who stood out as a performer and had a great look to him. The rest of the stuff, that's on him. But they made him matter, and they did make Kidman matter soon, very, very soon, because Kidman's cleaned up in this match. Like, I don't remember when he gets to the tank top and shorts phase, but I know it's coming really, really soon. But they made Kidman seem important. They made Juventud seem important, and that's just something you got to do with your stars. If you have going back to now, the Viking Raiders get squashed by Obafemi, I'm not gonna care when the Viking Raiders are like, "Hey,
Yeah,
we want the belts." I'm like, "So you guys Can't even beat one person. Now you want to beat two people? They're making the what you call it matter. The Bravo and Rayo, and all they're doing is dancing on the ring, but they're making them like a focal point. And when you make somebody a focal point, fans pay attention. So you just got to do that for as many wrestlers as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you when they did that with they didn't need to do that with the War Raiders. They didn't need to do that. And now like those guys don't matter. And it's like,
I mean, they weren't
but
doing that hot before, but
well
but
that's
yes,
that's true. I again I blame Tony Khan. I know he's not around.
for War
they
Raiders.
would probably do pretty well in AEW.
Oh, they should go to they actually should go to AEW.
I mean,
If
the
you
tag
listen
team needs the division could you always use some new blood. So yeah, they could actually.
Yeah, they would have so many collision matches.
I just
That's not a
remember
diss.
at Mania last year, Ray. That's when Viking Raiders fought New Day.
that's when
That's
I
when they went
told
to the
my friend
bathroom.
Adrian, I didn't care about that much.
Yeah,
Well, they
you went to
came
the
out in
bathroom. That was your
they,
bathroom match. You were like, "What is this shit?" But
they came out in the Clash of Clans gear, and I was like, no, I get the advertisements, but they look goofy.
It's
oh
so
yeah, it
depressing.
was like some weird like here we're gonna have our gear sponsored by the thing. I'm like that's the mat is one thing, although it looks kind of awful, but this is too much. You can't have gear inspired by that, which is
Firstly, I think the War Raiders should be ashamed
Yeah.
themselves. They should regret it.
Well, Ivar
Um,
seems like a
didn't
nice
one of them
guy.
just get married too? I think actually.
I don't. Well, one of them's married to Sarah Logan, which I won't say anything about. I don't think she likes me very much, based on
Uh-oh.
her affiliations and posts. But the other one, Ivar, the one with the beard, I don't know if he just got married, but he seems like a good guy. I hope.
yeah, yeah, they seem like nice guys. But you know who's a nice guy? Lee Marshall. This
Sorry,
segment is
Pratik
fun.
didn't talk
Oh,
about
sorry,
Kidman.
Fatigue. I'm sorry,
That's
Fatigue.
my fault because I went on the tangent about the War
Oh, the
Fatigue,
Raiders.
kid. Yeah, for
your thoughts on
no,
Kidman and
this was
and
a good showcase for both of them. Yeah, this is definitely if you want to talk about the coming out party for Kidman, this is great. And then he obviously, he has some great matches. He's a good technician, and he goes on to be very good backstage. I believe he runs, according to the few bits of Unreal I've seen, he runs like he times the show. He's apparently really good
yeah,
at timing. So,
he's
good
a
for him that he's been able to parlay this into a post like sort of like career kind of timing matches, being a good agent. Yeah, no, great match. Yeah, I remember getting and being behind Juventud because again, like we talked about, the product has to make you care about these guys and girls, and this was someone who we talked about. Oh, they're not building their mid card. No, they're trying to make you care about something. Now, granted, Juventud, unfortunately, there's backstage stuff or whatever. He got in his own way. We'll put it to you that way. So yeah, yeah, he got into his own way, but this is a good if you're trying to see, again for our listeners out there, if you aren't familiar too much with Juventud's kind of rise, like this would be a good like little snapshot to see like, oh, this is where he was going and this is where the company was actually this was a great little spot for him because you're on a pay-per-view where so many eyes on there. There's probably people tuning into this pay-per-view that haven't watched WCW before. So to have the second spot on this kind of show, like this was a good showcase for him, and the crowd was behind it. The dreaded number two spot, as they say. Like, no, this was the crowd. The energy is still building. We're still rising on this show, and right now, yeah, like this, everything's going fine. Like everything's clicking. It's just, it's almost like this is the first part of the Lifetime movie where it's like, oh, everything's going great, and then just, but yeah, like right now, everything's clicking. So yeah, if you want to see a good match and a good showcase spot for Juventud, please watch this. Yeah, I implore people to go back and watch this.
I don't implore you. I demand that you
Yeah, I
watch it
demand. I'm going to grab you by the shirt.
if you don't
Watch.
watch it. Okay. Up next is a really funny segment. Lee Marshall. Lee Marshall's an interesting guy to me. So Conan's talking about. By the way, Conan's talking about going and drinking in Old Town. I believe that's the Gaslamp district where the Madhouse Comedy Club is. I've been there. That is a crazy place. And let me just tell you, if Conan, Kevin Nash, and Luger are out drinking, fucking hide your daughter. Don't let her out because those guys are gonna get bowdy bowdy. You don't want that Ross. Those streets are wild with regular people. The Old Town Gaslamp area, right by where the Padres play in the clubs. When I go, that's a fucking wild era even to this day. I can't imagine in 1998, no social media, no camera, Conan getting bowdy. Fucking, there's some illegitimate children born that day. I'll say that much.
My goodness.
They're
Uh,
working the door at the madhouse. No.
and but then fucking Conan goes, "Where'd you buy this shirt?" And Lee Marshall brings up now a real store in East LA. And then Lee Marshall's, "What do you know about that?" And I'm like, "Oh, so Lee Marshall fucks around." Like Lee Marshall, I think the reason why they had Lee Marshall do the. By the way, did you ever hear my pitch for a TV show about Lee Marshall? You know how he did in
No.
WCW Road Report? He'd be in town a week early for
Hmm.
WCW. So the idea for my show is it's like a Magnum PI style show where the week before he gets involved in these like adventures or these mysteries and like, so while he's calling Nitro, he's like fighting drug dealers, and but no WCW knows. And you have it go from like it's going to only be like 4 or 5 years the show, but like while Nitro's going on, he's in a town the week before, like fighting crime or getting involved, like almost like Magnum PI. Like people hire him to like solve things the week before in town. That's the show, and then at the end of every episode, he calls in the Nitro. You know, what do you think of that? I think that'd be a fun show.
I mean, yeah, if WCW survived and the internet boomed to
We could
survive
do that.
past the YouTube era, I don't think TNT is giving them that time.
No, I'm saying WWF
Oh,
could do a period piece, like a period drama.
well, that's still fun. It's still a fun idea.
If the
Lee,
network was around back then.
yes,
Dude,
Lee
I think
Marshall was
I'm
actually
making
the
like a murder she wrote, but it's about Lee
yes,
Marshall, like, and because it was fictional, he's in the back. He's not actually in
yes,
the town. But no, he's actually because it would sound like he's scouting the town, like he's like promoting and like so like yeah he's a guy he's supposed to go to these towns and like go like to the bars and be like, hey, come to Nitro next week, but like he gets involved, like someone was like, my husband's been kidnapped, and then he has to go like save the husband. He's shooting it out.
Why do they think Lee Mark? Because the mustache and the voice? Is that why they
It's
think
the
he's?
mustache voice, but he's a man of action, and then he gets like he falls in love every week and he sleeps with a different woman,
You
but
know
he's
who would
not, like,
love this show? Vince McMahon would be like, I would love.
That's
Vince
good
McMahon would
shit.
love this show.
I would just be a hilarious show. I think it would be really funny, like the Lee Marshall mysteries. I think it'd be really funny. I think it'd be bigger than wrestling. Anyway, that's my idea.
I don't know about that, but he was the voice of Tony the Tiger for a bit. It's a fun fact.
Lee Marshall mystery.
He was the
I
voice
didn't
of
know
the
that.
Tiger. Yeah,
Yeah. He got around and he banged a lot of women. I'm saying that right now.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure.
Were they great?
I was just about to
Just
mention
worry
that.
about we were both going for the you
Yeah.
kind of have to.
So here
I
we
have
go.
a joke I don't say as much anymore about that because there was there was some type of pitch to make the cartoons that the cereals that we ate more adult. So I do a bit about them just kind of being adults, and he just like I know the Tony the Tiger part's like last night was great, and then he looks at the girl and he's like, so what are we? And you're like, okay, what a weirdo. Those kind
Or
of thing. He tries to hit on the
Who are
girl.
we great? What are we doing?
Exactly.
All right. So up next.
That was called bombing in real time for people who listening to
No,
it.
I listen. You didn't. You can't bomb with me.
That was called bombing in real time.
I
I'm
loved it.
better online. Thanhanks.
This was
Anyway,
the best day of my life when you.
back to fucking Stevie Ray.
Pratik, real quick, your thoughts on the great Lee Marshall, the greatest person ever live in wrestling.
yeah, I mean, again, those outfits are great. You know, again, with the divorced dads at the beach, basically, divorced dad bash. No, the set. I like these little segments. Again, that we haven't talked about that set, but man, if like either like NXT or like I still think AEW should lean into a bit more of the camp stuff, like just for like one or two, like maybe a big event. I know AEW tried to do like a beach break or like they couldn't call it Bash to the Beach, they call it beach break, but like if NXT isn't gonna like I remember when NXT brought back the in your house set for like a night or two, like I think either NXT or AEW should bring back like a fun set and then just utilize it. Like you could do it for a special Dynamite or a special NXT, whatever, but like those sets, man, like you can do so much with those sets and you can play into the camp of it. I know maybe it doesn't always look good on camera, but you could do it for something and make it I still think like yeah, with Danhausen you can use this stuff. Like it can be camp for the sake of camp, and I think people will like it. And if even if it doesn't do well on Netflix, like it'll work online. It'll get the views online. I think there's something to it. Like bring back the fun beach sets. Like there's so much you can do with that. There's something there.
The thing is, AEW has so many themed shows that
Yeah.
you would think that they would do that. Like it's like Slam Dunk Dynamite or whatever video game reference that they're making, Maximum Carnage and things like that. And it just looks like a regular Dynamite. Maybe it's just too expensive to make all these sets. But if you're gonna
Or
do all
save
these
for a pay-per-view,
gimmicky
that's
themes,
fine. But yeah,
that
like
too.
yeah, do
But
something with it.
if you're gonna make all these themes, have some fun with
Have
it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. AEW
Slam.
Dynasty is gonna be like the show Dynasty. It'll be look very old.
That would be wild.
Well, do some
Oh
time
my
cop
god.
They
stuff. Who
did
loves
do a
time cop?
little bit of that initially with the Halloween stuff, like they dressed in costume. The thing with Hangman dressing up as the Ghostbuster.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah. They
man.
all did the Ghostbusters
Yeah,
thing. I remember
We
that.
gotta do more with it though, man.
Yeah.
they should,
He
100%.
does it
Or
every
I think they
year. He
did
shows
Space
up as
Jam thing
somebody else.
also. The Elite dressed as like the Toon Squad, so they
They
would
did do
do
that.
these little moments. But I'm like, no, like capitalize them, like do more. Have our favorite Lee Moriarty show up or
Hell yeah.
Action Andretti.
Hell yeah. Have them be I don't know what's coming up next. Spider-Man. Do something like that. I know it's different
Mario's coming
rights.
out too.
There you go. They could be Mario and Luigi. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. Oh, Mario. I can't believe they spoiled Star Fox in the Mario movie.
That is just a crazy product of our time. I know it's not a sport thing, a pop culture gaming podcast, but I I was like annoyed and I also got it at the same time. I thought I missed the trailer when I saw the poster. I was like, did they put us another trailer out? They're like, nope, he's just gonna be in the movie instead of getting the pop that you would get from seeing Fox, his
I,
name's not Star Fox,
I
in
hope
the
that means
movie.
that they have a bigger surprise, like Sonic's in it or something.
I I I think that they just know people are gonna like at 11:59 on a Tuesday be like Fox is in the movie
Yeah, my
and spoil it and they try to get ahead of it.
I feel like that's gonna happen in wrestling. Like I feel like there's gonna
It
be a
already
wrestling.
does.
Well, no, but I feel
oh,
like
I
there's gonna be
stay off Facebook and Instagram like during if I'm not watching the pay-per-view live. You have to, otherwise shit
there's gonna
gets
be a WrestleMania where they tell you like oh, Sunday night at WrestleMania. This is what they're gonna say. They're gonna Stone Cold will interfere in a match at WrestleMania. Like literally tell you the plan.
Which one will it be?
Yeah, which
well
will it
now
be? Rather than
they've started spoiling the running order of WrestleMania. I'm like, no, I kind of
Oh, I
like
hate when people do that.
yeah, like I'll just stay off social media. I remember last year specifically, Ray, because you were driving in. And I remember the other person that we were with, he reports on wrestling, and he was like, "Oh, I got to see the running." I'm like, "You do that, I'm going to go in the other room. I don't want to know. I like going and not knowing what's coming next. That to me, that's part of the fun. So no, I don't need to
Yeah.
know what match is opening. Or I remember one year they spoiled who, or they were like, these two wrestlers are gonna, be number one and two in the Rumble. Like, no, I don't want to know. Like, less is more.
Yeah, I don't understand the point. I mean, they're doing it for their clicks and all that other bullshit.
Yeah, I avoid
But
and the Mario thing annoyed me because I avoided watching the trailer. So I'm like, fuck you. Why are you telling me shit?
now, now you know that Star Fox is in it, voiced by
yeah.
Glenn Powell, which means he's gonna be in. He might. There's probably gonna be a Star Fox movie now. I wish
Yeah, probably.
they found that out.
I mean, there's rumors of the Zelda movie, so
But that's already
maybe
being
we'll
made.
see Link. No, I don't know. Are they both? They're both not done by Paramount, right? Link,
So
Mario,
Sony
and
makes the Link movie.
I mean Sonic. Sonic is a Paramount movie, and Mario is a Universal movie. I
Universal, yeah,
can't.
because it's on Peacock, so it's Universal.
Okay. So yeah, unless everyone's playing nice, I don't think you'll
Yeah.
see Sonic. I don't know. Samus
Well,
maybe.
or maybe what's his name can't voice him, but you can show Sonic. Maybe you can.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe yeah, maybe Sonic 4. I know there was a big. I mean, Sonic 3. There was a cliffhanger. Maybe that's gonna be tying in. There's a lot they can do.
There's a lot they can
There's a
do.
lot they can do.
This
Yes, there's a lot they can do. 1 second.
I hope.
there's also Star-Lord. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
Hey, yes, that is true. Yes, but all right. So
back to
let's
1998, where Star Fox was also coming out on 64.
I remember a
well,
sleepover playing
yes,
Star Fox and then Revenge afterwards. So yes, a very
Ah,
very N64 heavy. Yeah.
what a
Star
1998
Fox
ass day.
64.
Yeah.
Great game, Star Fox 64. Okay, speaking of not a great game, no, this is good. I really liked this match and angle when I was a kid. Here's the thing. looking back now on this whole segment which we're about to talk about, which is Stevie Ray versus Chavo Guerrero and then Chavo versus Eddie. I don't think Chavo's that good at being a loony weirdo. I think it's he overdoes it because he's a very boring guy in real life, and I think when you ask boring people to be weird, they don't know how to do it. Um, and I think I realized I don't like this version of Chavo. I don't know what I want Chavo to do, but this isn't it. It's just too. It just because Eddie's such a good actor and Chavo is overacting that it kind of takes away for me from this whole match because all of this is good. So the first match is Chavo versus Stevie Ray. Now Eddie's plan is that Chavo's going to get annihilated by Stevie Ray, and then he's going to be easy to pin. Chavo submits to a handshake, and now Eddie has to fight a fresh Chavo. These two have a pretty good match, but again, like Chavo's like faces and everything, I don't know, they take me out of it now as an older man. Eddie wins, and Chavo is happy to shave his head. And they don't. At first, when I'm back in it, I'm like, oh, maybe they're gonna turn Chavo into a lunatic, into like a mankind type. But they don't really. He gets like a Pepe horse, which
That was awesome.
he gets, he gets like a little Pepe horse, which is cool. But like, by the way, he just started doing that without telling WCW, and then
Who?
Chris Jericho breaks it at a house show. And he was saying that in WWF, if he had broken Pepe at a house show, because they would have had Pepe merch, they would have had all this, like Vince would have like probably fired Chris. Why did you break Pepe? Like, why did you destroy Pepe? You know, like you're not supposed to destroy Pepe. But WCW, nobody can go. Okay, I guess we're just done with Pepe. So I don't know, but the match was okay. I don't know. I can't. He feels to me like Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is another guy who's very boring, and they try to have him act wacky, and I just feel like Seth sits around and studies his taxes all day when he's home. I don't know. Kyle, your thoughts? It was fine, I guess.
There's a little all over the place. I mean, looking at these matches, I guess my brain is tricked me that they had better match. I don't think this match was terrible, but
No, this is fine.
Eddie versus Chavo against each other, I guess was just not as exciting as I thought it was. Even in WWE when they revisited in '04, I thought it was a little bit more exciting. But I like the attempt. I like the attempt that Chavo was trying to get into a character. I remember I liked Pepe. Sorry to like a weird stereotype if it's a stereotype. I don't know if it is,
Fine. Don't worry
but
about it.
but it was you're like I loved Crime Time. I'm like I get it, but yeah, he had a I I like the attempt. I like the attempt. It obviously wasn't the best we see in Chavo Guerrero. The best we see is later when he's a slimy little heel. Oh, or a glow trainer, depending on where you know your Chavo from. But I remember liking the attempt. I liked the attempt. They should have made Pepe merch. People would have bought a Pepe for sure. Um, that's a that's an issue that plagues. That's one thing you can give to WWE. WWE will always make merch of something stupid if they think someone's gonna buy it. It's one of those reasons why this is gonna sound like a long ass tangent. Starlight Kid from Stardom. I kind of want her in WWE because she not only is she a high flyer wrestler, but those masks, if they have the rights to that mask, you know how many people are gonna buy those stupid cat masks? I don't call it stupid, but buy those like tiger masks, they would go crazy, and she'd be one of the more popular women in America just because of the mask alone and merch. But they don't sell those, and same thing here. They didn't sell the Pepes, so it cut into him getting over. I just saw a thing about Rey Mysterio. They didn't sell his masks.
No,
I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But it could have really helped Chavo out. Instead, it was just a gimmick for him to do, and that's it. I mean, he was Lieutenant Loco for a bit. I don't know.
that one's a little racist. So yeah,
Yes, I mean, I trust you. I was not a fan of anybody in the Misfits in action except for Major Guns, but is overall, it's fine. It's fine. It's a long way to say this was fine.
yeah. Pratik, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like it felt a bit all over the place. It's funny because Chavo's been saddled with a lot of different comedy gimmicks over his career. So yeah, I think I think it's like I appreciate his efforts. I appreciate him trying. He's taken a swing, but it does miss a bit. I think it's just interesting that he's had so many weird. I'm remembering the fucking white guy, Kerwin White, that comedy gimmick that was like half
Oh,
comedy, but like it was real. And then he had like the bleached hair. Like, so he's definitely game, and he's a good, like, oh, you give me something, I'll try it. But man, like, yeah, I think it doesn't work tonally. Like, yeah, whereas Eddie is naturally, I think that was the thing. Like, Eddie is just naturally very funny, and Chavo just, it felt forced at times. So yeah, I think tonally, I remember liking it more as a kid than this, but I still think it worked for. There was a lot of stuff going on in this pay per view, so for me, this still worked. And it was interesting to watch because I do think it's, again, I like going back, and I'm a mark for anything Eddie Guerrero, so like I'll go back and watch this stuff. So for me, if you're an Eddie Guerrero fan and maybe you haven't watched his whole catalog, still go back and watch it. It's still fun, but yes, it's not. It's certainly not the best outing, and it's certainly not like the highlight reel, but it is. It's a fun little thing for people to watch if you're an Eddie Guerrero or if you're a fan of the Guerrero family. And yes, I appreciate Chavo's efforts. Yes, he's great on Glow as a trainer, and then I believe he helped train the Iron Claw. I believe he helps. He's pretty much like anything related to wrestling. He's kind of like the wrestling coordinator or creator for it. So yeah,
a
good
great
on his
career.
efforts
Yeah.
for making the wrestling look real in Hollywood. So good on his later career as a backstage guy. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I always felt kind of bad for him. Not only did he have to talk about Eddie's death in the press conference, but he still had the dumbass Kerwin White
The bleach.
bleach hair, and he has to do the worst day of his life. He has to be dressed in the bleach hair, and you're just like, oh, buddy, this fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
I hope he's getting the, like, whatever he's in therapy or whatever. Because like, man, imagine like what, in 8 months he lost Eddie and Chris. Like that's a lot mentally to deal with. So I hope
Yeah, I don't know how. Well, he and Chris were close because of the infamous
that
text.
story is, oof. That's a, yeah.
him and
Yeah.
Chris, he's done Chris's podcast. They're pretty close.
Okay. Yeah. It's not a good time for him.
No.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
doing well now.
yeah. So now we get, the whole reason why the NWO was created in 2 year. By the way, it's the 2 year anniversary of the NWO at this point,
It is.
and they're still riding high off it. I mean, they still like they fucking sold a stadium on Monday. Now they're doing this with the NBA. I mean, you can't argue. You can, but I'm sure Brian Alvarez would yell at me right now. But they're doing fine. Disco Inferno versus Conan, and Disco has Alex Wright, and Conan has Kevin Nash and Lex Luger because you really do. This is the equivalent of like fucking. This is like the equivalent of like fucking Carmelo Hayes bringing out Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre to take on fucking Jackson Briggs and the other guy. Like I need Cody and Drew. Hey, Drew, can you fucking hit the thing on Cedric Alexander, please? Because I might be in trouble. Um,
Jackson Briggs is the Mortal Kombat. I
no,
was
what's
like,
the
which
guy?
NXT guy is it Jackson Briggs? If I didn't look it up, I would not have known. I guess Channing Tatum also has a guy named Jackson Briggs in another movie.
The
I
Briggs
was,
guy? Briggs and Jensen. Briggs and Jensen.
Brooks and
Carmelo
Jensen.
Hayes,
Josh Briggs. Okay.
Josh
No,
Briggs.
I know.
Josh
I
Briggs.
had to
That's
look it
it.
up
Yeah.
because Jackson Briggs sounds like someone who's on
So,
NXT right now. And I was like, is he in the Vanity Project?
so
Like, I
it, yeah.
really.
So Carmelo Hayes takes on Josh Briggs on SmackDown, and Carmelo Hayes is like, I need some backup. Here's Roman Reigns. No, listen, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre as my backup. And you're like, okay. Um, Kevin Nash is so dressed like a guy who's 40 in 1997, desperately wants to be 20, but whatever worked for him. Um, the match, the NWO just beats the shit out of Alex Wright, Disco Inferno. Basically, it was already over for poor Alex Wright. I mean, he was Das Wonder Kid, now he's Das Idiot, and that's it. Conan wins. It's kind of a waste. The Wolfpack, they got a pop. Thing was at either the Jesus meeting or the crack house. Take your pick.
Shit.
Um, it was what it was. Thoughts? Anybody? Kyle. Give me your thoughts, brother.
He was hanging out with Jackson Briggs. That's what the Stinger was doing.
On the thing, Annihilation. That's pretty much.
Yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. Oh, terrible movie. Anyway, but yeah, it was a weird use of the Wolfpack. The fans cared. The fans just liked seeing them. So you were just
hmm
very happy to see the Wolfpack do Wolfpack things, beating the shit out of Alex Wright and Disco Inferno. Later joins the Wolfpack, doesn't he?
he's like their intern, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he has like his little Sami Zayn moment with the Wolfpack.
yeah.
But
Sammy's wow, that's a
It was
interesting.
the opposite. You know how like
oh,
Sami
trust
Zayn,
me, not on the same level.
Yeah,
you know how Sami Zayn got the Bloodline more over. Disco Inferno got the NWO
got him.
West.
He's the reason for
Yes.
the.
Yes. He's the reason that, hey, we got to get back together. We're hanging out with Disco. Like, you're right.
Yeah.
Let's stop this. But yeah, it was a weird use of the group. Just to get them on the show, I guess. Maybe Kevin Nash didn't feel like wrestling that week. I don't know. They just they got a payday. They didn't have to do that much. Fans were happy, and that just seemed like why they did that.
Yeah, Pratik, your thoughts on this classic match?
Literally gonna echo that. Yeah, it felt like a payday for everybody. Obviously this is a big high profile pay per view. ESPN might be watching, mainstream press. So yeah, they just want to get all the boys some money on the show. That's what half of these like. We'll review all these WCW pay per views, and it'll be like a random. It'll be like a random JJ Dillon segment or a random segment here, and I'm just like, oh, you're just trying to get the boys do a little pay per view bonus pay, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. The crowd was into it, and I think the great thing was it wasn't that long. And yeah, Kevin Nash's outfit is, yeah, it's definitely the summer with Kevin Nash's outfit. I'll say that.
Kevin Nash is very over in this summer.
Yeah.
Like, I think we kind of forget because of what he did with Goldberg.
No,
But
I remember. I mean, like, I still feel like in '98 summer, I saw way more NWO shirts and Kevin Nash shirts and Hogan shirts than I saw DX shirts.
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
there's a reason why he was in the main event, not just because he was booking the show. He was over. He was popular. It's not like he was Alex Wright and then he got the Starcade match.
Yeah.
He was probably the number two, number three baby face in the company next to Goldberg. And that's why he was where he was. The result is debatable, and we'll get there in a few months, but it wasn't like he was nobody.
yeah. No, he was good. But he ruins it. They all ruin it. But we'll get to that.
they fuck it up.
We
God damn
get
it.
we get there. We'll get there sooner than later, way sooner.
Up
I
next
love playing him in the video game. That was fun.
Yeah.
Up next, it's the Giant versus Kevin Green. I got to tell you, this Kevin Green guy belongs in the Hall of Fame. I'm sure getting the leg. Okay, so really quick, we're talking about the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
I am fucking mortified that Sid is not getting a real induction. They're putting him in the Legacy ring. Let
Yeah,
Legacy.
that's yep.
That is like, are you out of your mind? And maybe putting Sid in the Legacy wing is to level it up so they can put more people in there so they don't have to. What I think at the end of the day, I don't think they want family members to come up and talk about dead people anymore at the Hall of Fame. That's my thinking. I think, but at the same time, Sid main evented two WrestleManias back when there was only one night. It wasn't a buy one get two free 2 night
Yep.
extravaganza like CM Punk once said. And by the way, and that matters because CM Punk fucking cried last year, like his life had finally a meeting that he got the main event that Saturday show. So main event only two WrestleMania matches are main events. That's a fucking big deal. Number two, two-time WWE champion. He beat Shawn Michaels at the Garden, and he
Mm-hmm.
beat Bret Hart. He's also a WCW champion. I don't know how many times because the company was on crack back then. Um, but he won the WCW belt a bunch of times. He was over. He was
He was over in ECW. He's
he was
Yes.
over.
he's in ECW.
This is a guy who he should be on the card. I think he's more deserving, and I'm a demolition guy. He's more deserving to demolition to be in the main wing of the Hall of Fame. This is a guy. Now, I don't know. I think Triple H and some other people in that company didn't like him that much, which is why they did this. The other reason is he's dead. I think if he was alive, he might have gotten a little he might have gotten in the real class this year. But I think that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Like he belongs in the main Hall of Fame. I think it's really. I know the family's happy, but I don't think the family pays attention. If I paid attention, I'd be like, no, you're gonna give him if he's not getting a real induction, I don't want him in this stupid fucking legacy wing. If that was my dad, I'd be like, he made him into two fucking Russ. What other mania? What other guy who's main eventing for the fucking title? You think Daniel Bryan's going to legacy wing? You think fucking Batista's going in the legacy wing? You think fucking Cody Rhodes or Randy Orton or fucking maybe Jack Swagger, but he deserves it. But these, like, if you wrestle for the title in the last match at WrestleMania, if you wrestle Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania, you belong in the main fucking. You know you belong.
I agree. I think for the Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, if things end tragically, and I hope that doesn't happen, WWE would be such assholes to
They
actually
put him
put
in
him
like
in the legacy. I
they have
can
Nikki
see.
Bella pretend. No, maybe Brie Bella.
I can see them doing that for him and him alone, and that would don't get me started. But everything you said is correct about Sid. Now, I wasn't the biggest Sid person, but he had a presence to him. He is a multiple time world champion. He is very memorable. There are people who still talk about him to this day. Maybe not always the matches, but the matches. Some of you, I mean, you were saying you've watched all these WCWs. His matches are underrated, and there's kind of been a narrative that he's just terrible at everything, and that's not true. Um, I
Even
think
his
the
match
reason,
with Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series '96, great match. The
yeah,
crowd with him. You
giant
know,
pop for that.
Yeah,
we, we're told that the company always goes with the Garden. This guy got the Garden by the balls when the company was dying. Doesn't that mean anything? Like my thing is this: is like to me, this is the first indication where you're not really a Hall of Fame because if Coco Beware, if Michelle McCool gets a fucking
that's a big.
induction, then Sid should get an induction. And I just think like, man, like this to me is the biggest indication that this is all buffoonery, this Hall of
It
Fame.
the only thing I can think of is they didn't want any, like you said. I mean, they did it with John Tenta, but at least they had an
Fred,
earthquake. They had a typhoon to talk for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they had anybody that they wanted with credibility to talk for Sid. This isn't a good excuse. Yeah, anybody with credibility to talk for Sid. I know they can't get Sting. I don't know who Sid's friends were outside of
Kevin
the,
Nash is friends with him. Have Kevin Nash fucking induct him.
yeah,
Kevin
they
Nash
could.
wants to go to WrestleMania anymore. I know he's kind of,
Okay, well then,
I mean, they
like,
probably
but
I'll,
they've had people get inducted without inductees now too. They're kind of being weird about having inductees, not having
yeah.
inductees. I was there for the Hall of Fame where Undertaker got inducted, and they had Vader get inducted. Vader wasn't there. They had his son come out while the crowd was into it because we were in a Vader. So
Yeah.
you maybe keep the speeches tighter. I think the bigger issue with the ceremonies, oh, they lose energy and people are sleeping. Well, because Triple H's induction was what 3 hours. Triple H's induction, if you count Shawn Michaels' intro speech, was the length of a pay per view. And I'm not taking anything away. I don't want this people think I hate Triple H or anything. Like, no, he's obviously done a lot for the company, but to me, this is where you think about like, oh, the Triple H era. They care about history. They're bringing back Mania 40. They have like the XL, the initials or the Roman numerals, and we know Triple H does care about his history when it comes to mending fences with Bruno Sammartino. That was a Triple H call. You do have to give him credit for that. But yeah, this doesn't make sense because first off, I still don't understand who gets like put in a legacy. Is it just like, oh, we need to have certain people for a video package? You're going to get thrown in the legacy wing. So like,
well,
what
I think
Luna
the legacy
Vachon was thrown in there, which I didn't
when they
understand.
started it was for like these guys that are like way like in the past, like Paul
Yeah,
Bosh. Like for
Yeah,
example, Paul
yeah.
Bosh is a great. You can't put. I'm sorry, you can't put a Paul Bosh induction on TV. He did a lot for wrestling. He did a lot. Not a lot of
you could
people
just
know.
have somebody come out and talk about him for 5 minutes, and the crowd will behave. I
But I
think.
mean, like, I get it. I get a Paul Bosh, and I get like if we put in like, let's see, put in Eric Embry. I don't know if you remember that guy or Skandar Akbar.
I
I
know
get
Lou
put.
Dez was put in the initial class. Lou
Yeah,
Dez.
he was in that one.
There
I
was a
remember
guy
that.
from India who got it, Dara Singh, who like Dara Singh was someone who, you know,
It
I read
it
about like
also
people would go over and fight him, So there's
Hmm.
something to
yeah,
that.
but also like yeah, educate them. Like, hey, we're putting in like the Kangaroos. That's a tag team from like the '50s because
Right.
because without the Kangaroos, we wouldn't and have the grandson. Like, it's like just do little things like that, and it's more legitimate and whatever.
I think that's what if they ever get their full building Hall of Fame,
I
That's
think
what they.
that's the other issue too.
That's when they get that, and then you can have your thing on the kangaroos and the legacy wing. But I think the Bad News Brown also just announced for the legacy wing.
Yeah, and he's
Um,
another one who should have like a fucking little ceremony. And
I think
now,
he
yeah.
deserves a ceremony too.
Also, I know that they're trying to do things tight on time. Doing this Hall of Fame after SmackDown is just so exhausting. It's just like, oh my God. You're watching a 3 hour SmackDown.
And then you got
Uh,
to run over to another
yeah,
building.
and then it's not even close. Yeah.
I liked when I hate to say it, I like those combo SmackDown Hall of Fames because one, you're not spending because it's two different events you got to pay for, and both are going to be in the high 200s, and you got to get over there too. That was the thing last year. I'm like, we're not going because one, we didn't even go to the SmackDown because everything was back when they jacked up. I mean, I'm wondering if the prices are going to be a bit more reasonable because now they're realizing. But last year, we were thinking of going to SmackDown, and guess how much nosebleeds were for that SmackDown? In the on the day of
Like three.
450. I remember because we were looking
Ooh.
at that, and then I kind of wanted to go for that immortal moment thing because I was like, oh, Austin and Brett would be there. Tickets for that were still in the high three for like nosebleeds. It would have been like 350, and that was day of at like 4 p.m. I'm like,
I was
nope,
like,
we're not
nope,
doing
I'm
that.
watching that on Peacock. Thank you.
Yeah, watch on Pico 4 hour Shawn Mike. What it didn't like Shawn and Triple H kiss also right at that induction of
They did something weird. And
they did a
Bret Hart
lot.
made that face. Bret Hart was like not impressed.
Yeah, because they got 5 minutes to talk, and then Triple H gets 2 hours. Like, and again, I'm not taking anything away from his induction. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame on his own. But like, you're giving 2.5 hours to that, and then 5 minutes for what is arguably a great match.
If you guys listening want to ever want to know what it's like to be on a comedy show, that's kind of what it's when the guy books all his buddies. That's what it's like.
Yeah, and then
He
you
gets
get five
five
minutes.
minutes, and everyone gets 2 hours to glad hand each other.
I was on a show where an improv group got 35 minutes, and the stand-ups got 5 minutes. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, I didn't mean to breathe into the mic, but I've been on shows like that.
look, I can't go on about this Sid thing 'cause it really
I'm
makes.
sorry, I don't want to get you upset.
No, it's
It's
pissing me off
upsetting.
too. I agree.
It's
I'm not. It's
upsetting.
not even like I love Sid. It's just like, bro, this is
No,
ridiculous.
it's upsetting. Like it's good that Demolition is in. I know you don't like them as much, but
No, I love Demolition. I love Demolition. But what I'm saying
oh my
is,
bad.
like, they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame as well. But I'm just saying that like they got in because they're alive, and Sid got. If Sid was alive and these two guys were dead, they'd be put in the legacy wing.
Yeah, no, they absolutely would. And if this is their way to boost the legacy, the wing, I would at least like. I know they don't really address the fans; they do whatever they want. At least say that. But hey, we want to do this. We're gonna make this important. But that's not something that they do, or they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. But I agree. They could have found somebody to speak to Sid about Sid for 5 minutes. But they didn't. They didn't. And who knows if they're done announcing people, they might have a celebrity
If I'm not
to do.
mistaken, either Luna Vachon, I don't want to misquote, but he was either Luna, someone in the Legacy Wing. They interviewed the fan member, and they were like, "We didn't even know they were in the Legacy Wing." So
Yeah, I
at
think
the very least,
yeah.
oh, it was Luna Vachon, right? Her relative or
I want to
something.
say it was her. Yeah,
So,
she had
so
relatives.
the legacy wing, I'm looking at it because from 2016, it's Luthez, which again, it's another guy who shouldn't be in the legacy wing. Frank Gotch, Sailor R. Thomas, Mildred Burke, Ed Strangler-Lewis, Pat O'Connor,
Mildred Burke
Jordan.
is the one from the movie, that Queen of the Ring movie. Yeah,
So this is the 2016 class. So look, Luthez, I think, should have got a fucking induction.
I
I
agree.
don't know why he didn't. But like,
Godfather of wrestling. Yeah,
I get
Maybe that
maybe,
was their way of improving, like being like, oh, this is a big deal. If we put Luke
yeah,
Dez in the legacy wing.
but
I
you got to
get
do something. Like have somebody talk about him for 5 minutes. It could be Cornette coming up and just saying
the
something.
Oh, they're
family.
not gonna let him do that.
Like you can't
Uh,
find the family of like George Hackett Schmidt. Like you know what I'm saying? So I get like okay, so that makes sense. Then in 2017, it's Farmer Burns, who was like way back in the day. Maybe his family, Ricky Dozon, who was killed again. That's another guy's probably hard to get the family of. Toots Mont, Dr. Jerry Graham, Haystacks Calhoun. Arguably, he should get a real June Beyer,
right.
Cat Wright, Luther Lindsay, and Judy Gable. All right, that makes sense. We don't. Ricky Dozon would have been nice to have a full induction. Same thing with Haystacks Calhoun. Maybe they don't have any family. Okay, so then in 2018, this is the first year. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They put in Lord Alfred Hayes, and Lord
Hmm.
Alfred Hayes was a guy who did so much for that fucking company,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and he didn't get a real induction. That's bullshit. Then we go to 2019, and Luda Vachon gets in the Legacy League, and to this day doesn't know. Bruiser Brooks, I didn't even know Bruiser Brooks was in the Hall of Fame. That's a guy who should have got a full
For
induction. Just
sure. They could have found family for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
why is he still alive? SD Jones. Wahoo McDaniel. Those are guys who should get a real induction.
I
2020,
thought Wahoo McDaniel already had was in the Hall of Fame.
Jesus, see, we don't even. That's how
20,
memorable it is. We don't even.
yeah. So 2020, Gary Hart, again, a guy who should get a real induction. Dr. Death, Steve Williams, a guy. Ray Clipper Stevens, who basically made Pat Patterson's career, another guy. And then Brickhouse Brown and Baron Michelle Leone. Okay, those two, whatever. 2021, Dick the Bruiser. It's another guy who should got a real. Buzz Sawyer shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame the way he treated people. Paul Bosch. Paul Bosch is the one that makes the most sense to me going in like that.
Are these all people that have passed, or are there any living? Like, if you passed, you like they're not getting living people in the legacy.
I'm trying to see if any of
I
they
think
if
they
any
all died.
when they did this. Everyone seems to be dead.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think everyone was dead.
but I mean, again, I don't think they want dead family members. But if Luna Vachon doesn't know, then
That's
like
what
you got to at
this.
least send the family a plaque. Like,
Yeah,
you idiot. Here, you idiot. Hold on. Let me keep looking at this legacy way because now I'm fucking annoyed. This stupid fucking I'll fucking legacy their asses. Hold on. So then see there. So then we
but we get a 9 hour Stephanie McMahon induction. We got time for
So
that.
2022, where's the
Mm.
legacy? There's no legacy. There's no legacy one in 2022. 2023, no legacy. 2024, no legacy. 2025, Dory Funk Sr. All right, whatever. It's at least the Funk brothers got in. Ivan Koloff and Kamala. Kamala should have got a real. So
Yeah.
they
Kamala should have gotten a real. Yeah,
so it's pretty clear Triple H brought it back last year to dump in some old guys, and that
but
they're
it feels
doing
like
it
an
now.
afterthought. That's my problem. It feels like, oh, we're
Mhm.
just we'll throw you 3 minutes on a show.
Hey, you
I
know what?
forgot they're
At
throwing
least,
in a match. They got to
at least,
throw in a match. They do matches now, so the next inductee is going to be a match. I don't know which WrestleMania match, but it'll be
it'll be
Steamboat
fun.
Savage would be a good one. I know the Reddit
If,
threads have been talking about that. And
if they
Sid
that'll be
induct,
Rollins
cool.
is around.
bro, if they induct Sid Hogan, so Sid gets in on a match, but not as a real person. Sid Hogan is your next induction.
And nobody's who's gonna. None of the participants are around for
You know what? I could honestly see it being a Hogan match just to get some Hogan love because he passed away. Uh,
Hogan,
this
I
is the
mean,
first
I
Mania since he passed, though. Yes, that is
I
true.
would
yeah.
put it in Rock, but Rock's not going to show up for that unless he is.
Yeah,
You
if he does, I
can
think you
wrestle.
don't want him to, unless he's
Oil.
doing whatever final boss stuff with whatever storyline, Raw or SmackDown. I don't think you want him to show up.
No,
Okay, I'll say this. If The Rock is the guy Randy Orton's speaking to, tonight you announced that the match is going in is Hogan and The Rock, and then Michael Cole goes, and to accept the award at the Hall of Fame will be Nick Hogan, and The Rock's music comes out. The Rock music, he comes out, and then he reveals that he was the guy behind Orton, and
he
The Rock.
reveals it at the Hall of Fame.
No, he
By the
reveals
way,
SmackDown in the next
Oh,
week or two.
SmackDown, yeah.
I will be at WrestleMania. I'm not bailing this year, and I will be at the Hall of Fame to accept this award with the Hulk Hogan's family. And we're going to have some Termana with the Hogans, and also
And then
Junkyard
he
Dog
does
fan.
this maneuver for some reason. He does.
And then
oh yeah,
and then he goes like, and also the New Day will be there to accept the award with Hulk Hogan's family.
God,
With Thunderbolt Patterson, they bring him
oh
back.
God, they would have Big E do it too.
Thunderbolt Patterson,
Introduce him.
Thunderbolt Patterson got a real induction. That's
He got a
something.
real, and he got a long, what, like a 40 minute. He got a meaty speech.
Good for him. Good for him.
Maybe that's why. I remember Larry Sabisco had a really long one. Maybe that's why they're doing it the way they do
Larry
it.
Nabisco. Oh God, the biggest fucking loser.
He got a real induction. Yeah.
Yeah, he talked for way too long. It was
Way
very
too.
boring.
Hillbilly Jim got a long. What didn't Hillbilly Jim do like a 45 minute? Man,
By
Yeah.
the way, the only reason they put in Larry Zabisco was they wanted to keep their relationship going with Bruno because so they can
right?
have
Because
Bruno.
Bruno showed up to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Bruno
these
and
guys are
John.
running the light.
All right, speaking of running the light, we got to get back to the show. All
Yeah,
right,
no, it's
the
big
Giant.
tangent show today.
It's the Giant versus Kevin Green. Okay, so my whole point is Kevin Green should be probably get them the legacy wing because they're fucking losers. Kevin Green should be in the
Wow, that's where this
celebrity
came from. Okay, yeah. I just,
Hall of Fame.
yeah, this is okay. We went like a good half hour because of it. All right.
We were frustrated. I mean, the Sid thing came out. That was real news that needs to be reported.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that there needs to be a town hall meeting with Triple H about this bullshit. Anyway,
They canceled those, the press conferences.
no, I'm having a town hall meeting with.
Go for it.
So we get the Giant versus Kevin Green. It's a pretty good match. Giant wins. At the time when I was younger, like why why is Kevin Green always losing? But it makes sense. I mean, I'm sure in W right now Bad Bunny would have beat the Giant. But it was fine. What'd you think, Kyle?
I hate it when Kevin Green back then. I hated when Kevin Green would be there and do all that. Like I was just not a fan of like the football players being like wrestlers and stuff like that. Now I don't care that much. Nice little exhibition. Giant winning is the right call because he's the Giant. It is something that Big Show has should have been pushed like his whole career. Not that I'm saying that Big Show. I want to see Big Show as a world champion. Wanted to see Big Show as a world champion, but he should have always had in the back of his mind that he's the Giant. He can beat you with one thing. He can knock you out if he really gets his hands on you. Kind of like Zangief in Street Fighter. Once Zangief grabs you, it's a wrap. And that's just not how he was always pushed. He was pushed here correctly this time, so it worked. It worked out.
Yeah, he needed this after losing this thing in 14 seconds last month, so that was good. Pratik, your thoughts?
No, I remember this as a kid, like, yeah, Giant's gonna kill you. And then I just remember it wasn't a WWE. I know there was a couple reasons why he didn't work like that in WWE. I know Paul White, the guy behind Giant, wanted to be more technical. He wanted to take bumps. I know Undertaker also got in his ear about, better cardio, better fitness, but there is something to how he was in WCW where I was like, oh, this guy's going to eat you. And I didn't necessarily feel like that when he came over to WWF. So there is something to whether it was WCW intentionally doing this or whatever they were trying to bill him as Andre's relative to at this point too, where there was a mystique behind him, and I wish some of that had carried over to the WWF era. Like, don't get me wrong, I still liked him initially when he first won his title. If you remember, that was the boss man harassing his fake dead father, like coming to the funeral and all that stuff. So for him to beat Boss Man, get the title that way, that was a good little feel good moment. But then instantly, like it all just plummeted from there. So yeah, I think this should go down. This match should be viewed as a, hey, this is when like Paul White looked like a fucking scary monster who would eat you, and you need those moments for him. So if you're a fan of Paul White or Big Show or whoever, go back and watch this. And yeah, he had an intimidating presence to him back then, and I wish this would have carried. Again, this was a thing where they had this like guy who was getting over, was intimidating, and then you just fumble it. So just another moment of you had this beautiful thing and then just dropped it. So, but again, good match, good use of the Kevin Green guy. I genuinely don't remember Kevin Green. I just remember Giant looking like a badass. I have
Uh,
that figure. That's a great the Japanese. Yeah,
Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I love this
yep,
figure.
yeah, love it. I think this is my first
I
figure I
think
bought.
I think he's a Persona card now in the 2K games.
Yeah,
Oh, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. You got to
Wow.
do it's either the action figure one. I think it's the action figure one because they put like the Mattel action figure people in the like those in as a playable character, which I
nice.
personally think they're a little silly, but people seem to like them. But you have to jump through hoops. I don't know if you've seen all the drama about the new games. They have
I,
the
I
I,
saw
battle
a YouTube video.
pass.
There's like a lot going on or something.
Yeah, between the battle you got Dusty Rhodes
That
between the
too.
battle pass and then they still do the my faction. It's just like a big
And
microtransaction
isn't it like almost
game
like
now.
it's almost like if you count all the DLC stuff, it's like $500 you're spending to like get
Yeah,
it,
but
and
even
you
if you
still have
buy
to
the
work through school.
yeah, you buy the Monday Night War edition, you still have to do the battle pass to get the DLC people you bought.
Oh my
But
god,
anyway, next
yeah,
match.
PKO! Let's just drain funds from people as the world is falling apart. Yay!
Gotta love it. I mean, them and 2K. I don't know who's at fault here, but
I'll
not
tell
the
you what is a game worth buying is the Marvel Maximum Collection that came out today, featuring
that
the X
did.
and featuring the Captain America arcade game and the Spider-Man versus Spider-Man X-Men and Arcade's Revenge and Maximum Carnage. I used to pray every Christmas they would announce the X-Men arcade game for the Super Nintendo. It didn't happen. It's finally it took me 30 years, but we got it on a fucking Nintendo system. So there you
Yeah.
go.
And you can also get it on if I saw online you can play the 6 player one. If you play online you get the 6 player X-Men.
But
If you play with friends it's the 4 player X-Men.
you can do 6 player at home if you want.
Oh. All right. Well, PlayStation lied to me. But that's great. That's awesome. No, that is a staple of just childhood, at least 90s childhood. That X-Men game, that Simpsons game. You go to an arcade, you go to a Pizza Hut even,
Yep.
and you spend those Simpsons, you spend those quarters and have a just a good time. So while we're not paid for these advertisements. If you want to play a bunch of classic beat 'em ups and Silver Surfer, just
I was
have a
Like
going
good
to.
time.
Silver Surfer game, they have an invincibility code in Infinity Lives, and it makes that game way easier. Let me tell you something. I don't know how anyone ever beat that game. That is like the craziest game, how hard it is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have games like that anymore for a reason. Games are hard, but they're not Silver Surfer hard.
Bro, one hit. Like if you hit a wall, Silver Surfer dies. He's slow. He's going slow. He's going like 2 miles an hour, Silver Surfer, and he hits a wall and he falls off the surfboard. Like, what power did Galactus give him exactly?
It's a different time. I assume the Simpsons collection is next. Even I don't know how many people want to play Simpsons games besides the arcade game and Hit and Run, because those Nintendo ones were rough. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Bart's Nightmare.
Nintendo ones. That's what they'll probably do, and the Game Boy ones. I
Yeah,
would. Well, Bart
they
versus Mutants has a charm, especially if you like put up cheats. It'll be more fun.
yeah. Without the cheats, they were quite frustrating.
Yeah,
But the arcade, Hit and Run would be his own thing. But
dude, I don't understand now. It's been 30 years. If I was in charge of the Simpsons IP, why not make a sequel to that arcade game? Because you have so much more
they
now to
did, they did it, but they did it for the iPhone.
play. Did well, you know what? They're fine.
Yeah,
All right, let's move
but no one
on.
played it because on the fucking iPhone. But
Simpsons makes sense.
back to
How have we not discussed the greatest Simpsons game, Simpsons Wrestling?
oh my, what a disaster.
I
Two things
remember
that
the
I
hype
love.
for that. I was like, I like wrestling, I like Simpsons. Like yeah, whatever 10-year-old Pratik was like exploding with joy, like, whoa, and then like you play it and you're like, oh.
Yes, no, it could have been the greatest game. It was one of the worst games. I'm hoping that the modders and all those people who like deconstruct and reconstruct games someday make the game playable and enjoyable because that would be really fun to play
Right.
with a working game.
Yeah, they ruined my life. All right, here we go. Here we go.
That's
So
the
many
theme of this podcast. It ruined
so
my
many
life.
tangents today, guys. It's just that kind of Friday.
So the next show and the next show, the next match, Chris Jericho comes out dressed like a Clark Grange character. JJ Dillon, because again, JJ Dillon has a contract. I got to get a promo in at fucking pay per views. Comes out and says, "We have a local wrestler for you to wrestle." Jericho thinks it's going to be some indie jobber. He thinks it's going to be the father of Kevin Knight. And he's like, sure.
Wait,
And
which Kevin Knight? The Jersey Kevin Knight or the
the guy from TNA or whatever the company it is.
AEW guy?
AEW.
Okay. No, there's in the East Coast there's Kevin Knight, the guy. I don't know if it's a busted open thing. No, it made sense because he didn't really have that big of a career.
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of got confused at the joke. But yes,
All right, all right. So yeah, so we get it's Rey Mysterio, and he is a hometown guy because they're in San Diego. They're gonna
Right.
go get in the Old Town district. Jericho, Rey Mysterio, Big Pop, Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is back. He hasn't missed the step. These guys kill it. Dean Malenko comes out with a really cool shirt that I want now. That Malenko was one of the few fucking guys to get merch, and it works. It's a good shirt. They got to do like a WCW collection on WWE Shop with some of this stuff. Monday Night Jericho, especially if they get they can't do Malenko because he's with AEW, but
yeah.
Or Jericho either, I guess.
oh,
Okay, yeah, we don't know by the time this is done. We don't know when he's. We don't know.
But the Monday Night Jericho shirt, Eddie Guerrero's my favorite wrestler. The Malenko shirt, the Horseman shirt, obviously, NWO up the ass. But those are already out. But they gotta do like a shirt collection for
I mean, I
A
think they already
retro
did them.
collection, that would be
WCW.
yeah.
But they never put out
DDP had a couple of shirts.
Eddie
Mhm.
Guerrero. Let me see Eddie.
Mm-mm.
There was like a wanted poster Eddie Guerrero shirt that I really liked. It wasn't like
Yeah.
the Cactus Jack one, but it was like kind of like Eddie Guerrero, like kind of like, oh, I'm a Latino badass, and I still have it's somewhere, and I remember wearing it in Texas. But yeah, like but you look online now, they have all the retro shirts they've kind of just done away with, and I'm like, how are you losing out? Like this is a big profit margin that they could do.
2,000 Latino Heat shirt for sale.
It's because we also I heard that now when they released them, remember the John Cena had like the hustle, loyalty, respect, like Chain Gang Soldier, and it was took over the whole print of the shirt, like the
Yeah,
original. Now it only takes up like a small part of the shirt, and like they just some of these things seem like rockets, don't seem like rocket science, and I I would love to be in these meetings because I don't understand like who's approving this stuff and why is it getting made this way. Like we want to,
so
this is stuff that we want to give you money for, and you're like, we're just gonna make it
yeah,
wrong, and you're like, okay, cool.
so I had an order. I haven't ordered anything off WWE Shop for a year. Some guy in Square Circle Reddit claimed that you couldn't find Danhausen's merch. I found it in 2 seconds, so I don't know what this guy was trying to do for the Danhausen. But then I saw that it was like a 70% off sale on the. So I saw a Greg Valentine and Jimmy Hart shirt that I like, and I got them for $24. So I'm convinced that post was bait to get people to look and see the sale. But
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
I'm curious to see how these shirts, because the last two WrestleMania shirts I got, 'cause I've only bought WrestleMania shirts. No, I got the Great Muta Hall of Fame shirt, and the print is very, very small. I'm curious.
yeah, I have that shirt too, and I'm like, it looked cool, but then I'm like, wait, why is it? So I saw it from afar, and then I'm like, no, there's less imagery on it, and it's just yeah, it's kind of annoying.
Greg Valentine shirt is like an old magazine cover with him on it, and I'm hoping that the image is as big as the shirt says it is. But it looks good. It looks good. I like. I'm really into the Valentine shirt. So and I'm not, you know me. I'm not a big Greg Valentine guy. I mean, we
Yeah, not
all
a big
are.
fan of me either.
But you got to have. It's a
As
good
long
shirt.
as he's not in the legacy wing. That's
You got to really induct him. So he's a man.
has he
Okay.
even been in? Was he inducted at all? Like I feel like I.
Like oh 05 or something.
Okay. Oh, when the
Right.
ceremony was in a hotel for like 20 people.
The
Yeah.
thing, see, I'm on the site right now, and there's a Vision shirt, which like I get all these two different. Oh, they're two different Vision shirts. I thought it's the same one. Because they have the Austin Theory pressure shirt, and this is the one of the worst shirts I've ever seen in my life.
Vision
So
shirt's horrible.
the front just says pressure, and then the back says you're going to see it, you're going to feel it. I feel like I'm going to be assaulted if I see if I see someone wearing a shirt like that. The Vision shirt, which is just the logo, I'm not a big Vision person. That looks cool if you're a fan of the Vision. I would love more logo shirts where it's
They,
just the shirt, the front, and nothing goofy on the back.
they have so much Danhausen stuff now on the site. I went there.
Good for him. You know, he deserves it.
Cool. I
Yeah,
like the You Are Cursed shirts. They're cool. If these go on sale, I might get a Danhausen WWE
it's like
shirt.
a Roddy Piper You Are Cursed shirt.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
cool.
just
Yeah.
feel like they have like they barely have any Macho Man or Roddy Piper. Like all the vintage wrestlers, like you would think they should have a whole vintage wing.
I think
They,
with Savage is he's owned by other his likeness is owned by a different company, isn't that right?
Oh, really?
Because I know
is
in the
like
video games they're like Macho Man and Andre are they're owned by somebody else, has their likeness.
they have left. They have to just once they have
Oh,
a
they're just pawning. Oh, that's unfortunate because I know 2, 3 years ago when Mania was in Hollywood, I remember they had a bunch at the Superstore. They had a bunch of Macho Man stuff. So this
yeah,
is
they
interesting.
lost the deal. The family moved on. The family was like, that doesn't work for me, brother.
Apophos.
I hey, yeah, so
Rey
um
Mysterio.
thoughts on the Rey Mysterio match? Or?
I thought that was an awesome surprise. I'm glad to see Ray back. It was cool. It was a cool surprise. I mean, the Dean Malenko Chris Jericho feud is never ending, but it led to a good moment for Rey Mysterio, and that was really cool. Rey Mysterio, big part of WCW, big pop for him, and I was happy. I was happy for him.
Me too. What about you, Pratik? Your thoughts
Oh
on this
yeah,
one?
no, this was my childhood coming to life. I remember this moment. It was a good surprise. It worked. Good use of the set. I remember when they fought onto the on the
Yes.
beach, like the way again, like you can say a lot about Jericho, and I know some people have some issues with him currently, but I think just putting this match together again, you want to watch two guys again, like there was no real build because Ray was a surprise, but talk about guys who had good chemistry, who had this era of smaller guys who are good in the ring, good psychology. They're fighting all over the place. And yes, the did the Malenko Jericho feud carry over, and was it kind of stretching its limits. Yeah, but it worked for what they were trying to do with this. They also did a good job summarizing the feud at the top. Again, they're getting better with the video packages at this point, and yeah, it was a good moment for the crowd. The crowd was into it. I remember like outside the as a kid, as outside the main event, this was my favorite match in the show. I still think now it holds up. I not certainly not the greatest outing of either of them. It's not like a slam dunk because they have such a high caliber at this point. But yeah, it worked for the show. It was a good feel good moment. Good use of the set. Crowd was into it. It was a great surprise. Good hometown moment too, which and this era, it feels like guys weren't getting good segments in their hometown. I know we know Vince's rule: you're going to lose in your hometown, but but here I thought it was a good moment for Ray, and I just remember as a kid again, we talk about some of these guys from WCW and their impact today. A lot of athletes, you see athletes today, they love Booker T and they love Rey Mysterio, and I think in the pantheon of Rey Mysterio matches, I still think this should be put up there because it was a really good moment for his hometown and it worked for the crowd. So I know this maybe is an underrated match, but I think it still works for his legacy. And if you're a Rey Mysterio fan or a Jericho fan, you should watch this because it's there's a lot of silly moments. The top hat stuff is insane too. Like it kind of there's a lot of gimmicky stuff on the show, but it kind of works. Like the camp is working on this show for me, which you don't see too often in WCW. So
Miracles on fire. And the fact that they don't take advantage of this in the fall is what leads them to WWE. And,
yeah,
up next, what a disappointment this next match is. What a disappointment. Man, Bret Hart, I just want to say to Bret Hart, just fucking, who cares about Montreal, bro? Who cares? Make Booker T.
He he cares.
I know,
That's the
but like,
problem.
he's let. If I'm Bischoff, if I'm Bischoff and I see this match, there's no fucking reason to push this guy. This guy is done. I'm talking Booker T versus Bret Hart. All, dude, this should be a great match. These two guys are fucking killer. Booker T is the future. Bret Hart is the like this is like such a great moment for Bret Hart to make Booker T. And Bret Hart, he again, this is another match where he's just not into it. He was into it with Ric Flair, and he hasn't been into it since. And he misses hitting Booker T with a chair after the match. It's just like going through the motions. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like this guy, Booker T is it right now, and you're just not doing anything for him. Like, what do you do? Like, why would I push you? Why would I look at everybody who's showing me everyone, even Kevin Nash is showing me fire. They're showing me that they want it. They're over as fuck. And we just had the hottest crowd in the history on Monday. And you're sleepwalking through a match with Booker T. Honestly, Bret Hart, like you should be ashamed of yourself. Who cares what? This is the best revenge on Vince McMahon. You fucking have banger after banger. You make Booker T into the next big star, and then you fucking win the ratings war. If fucking WCW came back and won the ratings war, and they're still in business today because of Bret Hart's fucking trying, that's the best revenge. That's the best. All that happened was you proved Vince right to throwing you the fuck out of that company, you idiot. And Bret Hart was always
Jesus.
whenever I met him. But I'm just like, bro, like this sucks. What are you doing? You're supposed to be like the goat. What are you doing?
I mean, I will say in his defense, because I had to look it up, because there's a couple things I remember here. Booker T, I think, was legitimately hurt, so they
Mm.
had Bret Hart. I guess Bret took it easy. I'm gonna give Bret the benefit of the doubt here. I'm sure there's other matches that will disagree with me. I think he took it easy on him to get Booker T to not be too injured, because according to Cage match, after this match, Booker T's gone until like November.
All right.
But so I also remember the infamous promo where Booker Bret Hart goes, "Hey Booker T, I want to ask you a question. Who got legly leg now?" And it's really kind of racist and ebonicsy. And then somebody throws an egg at him, and he keeps talking as the egg yolk drips on his jacket. If you've never seen it, it's on a Thunder. It's fucking hilarious. They throw an egg at Bret Hart, and it doesn't even phase him. But so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here. The rest of the career, we will continue to watch because Bret Hart didn't have a good time. Eric Bischoff didn't have a good time. There's just really not it's just well documented that it just was not that great. I don't know if every match is like that, but we'll see the next one.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I blame you for this. Critique your thoughts.
That was like,
Man, like it on paper, I was just like, oh, Booker T, Bret Hart, this should be Hall of Fame worthy. This should be 5 stars, whatever. And I'm like, man, like it's just, again, it's like Bret. There's just something in Bret Hart's eyes, like he's just going through the motions in these matches. And yeah, there is something to be said for, okay, you're pissed off about. I thought at one point, I'm like, wait, did Owen? I thought Owen had passed away just because like the soul was suffering. I thought, but like no,
yeah.
that's later. That's next year. But it's like, yeah, I
Uh,
don't know if I know. I don't know if maybe was Bret Hart going through a divorce at this point too. Like I know there were
I think
some.
he's just still bummed out on Montreal. I think he just can't get out of it.
Then he shouldn't have rushed right away to WC. He should have taken time for himself. Again, mental health. But this was an era where he wasn't thinking about that. He was just thinking about the money. But yeah, you can see it in his eye. He literally, I've said this before on the show. He looks like a comedian doing a casino gig. Like you're checked out. You're phoning it in, and it's a shame because this could have been absolute. Again, you have all these mainstream eyes. You have people who probably haven't even watched much wrestling, and they're on this show. And you're slotted in a good position in the show, and you just followed a banger of a match. Yes, maybe it wasn't Ray's best outing, but it was a good match and the crowd was on board. And then you're seeing the energy kind of dip. Also, why I don't know why this match just felt way longer than the last match, and it's only 2 minutes longer. So that just showed how bloated and dragged out it was. So it's unfortunate because again, you want to like both of these people. Booker T was on an ascension, so yeah, it kind of pisses me off because this could have been a slam dunk not to use slam dunk on this show, but this was boom boom boom, and I hate to say it because in watching these pay per views for a while, I'm like, oh, Eric Bischoff ruined Bret Hart's run, but I think some of it too was on Bret. I hate to say it, but Bret's kind of screwing Bret over in WCW. I,
no.
I hate to say that. I'm the biggest Bret Hart fan, but I'm really
I'm
struggling
a
to
Paul
watch this.
fan.
It's pissing me off.
He's not. He's not.
He gets in his own way sometimes.
He's getting in his own way, and honestly, he should be ashamed of himself. And this match sucked, and he's an idiot. So, all right.
I'm jumping ahead to see his future matches, and cage matches not kind. So I think we
Oh,
got a lot to go. These are all
No,
TV matches. I don't know what his next pay-per-view match is.
I think it's that fucking awful fall brawl, but we'll get to that.
all right, he's in. Oh my! I think. Oh my God, that might. Oh,
Mm.
We'll get to that fucking stupid thing. Okay, up next. This match though is I was shocked how great shape Kurt Hennig's in. I mean, he's always in great shape, but I get because he always wears a singlet. You don't see it. It's Goldberg versus Kurt Hennig. For before the match, they show a video package of that Nitro. I still contend that Nitro was a mistake. However, it's the best mistake you could ever make because people still talk about it to this day. It really was like a magical night of live television. Everyone was on fire for it. The pop when Goldberg wins, it's a historic night. But at the same time, just because you can have it, listen, if fucking Butch Reed beat Hulk Hogan 2 days before WrestleMania 3 for the title, would we still be talking about it? Yes. But WWE out of business now. But we still be talking about Butch Reed beating Hulk Hogan for the belt 2 days before WrestleMania 3.
I mean,
Um,
it would help Hulk Hogan with the allegations.
yes, but Hulk Hogan would no one would be putting cameras in Hulk Hogan's bedroom if they fucked up WrestleMania 3. That's all I'll say. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be like Hulk Hogan said the N word. Who said the N word? Is that a real human being? No one will remember him. All right. Goldberg wins. Fucking another great squash. They're doing everything right now with Goldberg. This is awesome. And it's good. It's a good semi-main event. Kurt Hennig gets squashed. And again, I said it last month. What did I say? When Conan lost to Goldberg, still got a huge pop. Still going to go to fucking Old Town San Diego and get some bitches. So it didn't hurt him. And doesn't hurt Kurt Hennig. He still has Raptors crap, and he still gets to wrestle Brock Lesnar on a plane. So it's
oh
still
my God, I forgot.
Well, yeah, that does
so,
happen.
you just got to do the job for the Goldberg. I mean, it's not getting squashed by Goldberg is not an indication on your talent. It's what's right for business to stop Vince. And when they forget that, they go out of business. Kyle, your thoughts?
I mean, you can say that's the same thing why they did the Goldberg Hulk Hogan thing. It
Oh,
was it was to stop Vince.
that was
I Yeah, also yes, the Hulk Hogan. I've heard the things about the getting money and all this other extra stuff and all the other underhanded stuff. Not underhanded, but at least Hogan-handed stuff. But
Mhm.
I think that There was never a rematch on pay-per-view, right?
They never wrestled again. And,
That's
and to me,
that's
that's
that that's
How
a
do you
mistake.
botch that? Jesus, that's a
I get
botch.
I guess yeah, I guess Hulk didn't want to lose twice.
I'll say this. I think the angle with the finger poke was to lead to
As
Hogan.
you're cradling your Hogan figure, I like that.
Yeah. Hogan gets injured in April, and then Goldberg gets injured right after.
Oh
Then
right.
back, I think again they were going to build to Hogan Goldberg with Sting turning heel,
Yeah, that
and
didn't do well.
That would have been cool.
but then Vince Russo comes in, and then Vince Russo, a lot of shit. Then
Bro, bro.
Goldberg injured again. So now we're in. Remember, only 2 years later, and Goldberg injures Hogan before Bash at the Beach 2000. And again, I think that's supposed to lead to Hogan versus Goldberg. But then Vince Russo calls Hulk Hogan a piece of shit, and he's never in WCW again. And so yes, you can be like how they fuck it up, but I think you ultimately have to put the blame to Vince Russo because twice there was a build to Hogan and Goldberg wrestling and a one-on-one, and Vince Russo comes and just throws it out for fucking nonsense that leads to Bret Hart retiring. So you know,
Yeah, I mean, there's a why wasn't Hogan at Starcade? Well, we can talk about this later. I know it
well,
went to Kevin Nash.
I do think the Goldberg heel because then after he turns heel, he destroys Hulk Hogan, and
Yeah.
I think what Hogan's idea was Hogan beats Jarrett for the belt, and then we go to like I would say the smart play would be Hogan Goldberg if he stays heel, or you could do a double turn between them at Halloween Havoc. I think that would have sold. But Vince
Mm.
Russo, Hogan, Vince Russo wanted
No,
Hulk Hogan.
oh no, I watched that live. I remember very well.
They,
But
but I
but
do think it was for Hogan Goldberg again.
yeah, I mean, I think that's something that should have been done sooner or later, whether it just couldn't happen because of, the Jay Leno's Ultimate Warrior. Just thinking of that year. Um, it's just something that should have happened on a pay-per-view sooner than later, and it just didn't happen. But I do think it was a good, right idea for the time, to give him the win on for free on Nitro because so many people tuned into that, and it is a very pivotal moment in his career. And I have to say this every time. This is coming from someone who does not like Goldberg. Loves Bret Hart. But this match here, it was a good showing. Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, who we've kind of been down on this podcast, just the past couple months. He did a really good job with Goldberg, and we knew he wasn't going to win, but it was a serviceable match, and it was entertaining, and it
Yeah,
wasn't it was a decent squash. Because I know you said that people didn't like to lose. I don't know. There were conflicting reports with William Regal, like William Regal either didn't want to lose or like he was t
well,
told to like wrestle a certain way or
in the future, like people don't want to get squashed by Goldberg anymore. Right now, I think they're,
yeah,
but
They're
I'm
fine with
saying
it
that
because
when
of
you
the
get squashed by Goldberg, that's not like because you're a bitch. It's the right thing.
yeah, yeah. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was a good squash. I'll just leave it at that. And Goldberg is the hottest thing in the company at that time. He is, and they were chanting for him during one of the matches. I think either Juventud and Kidman or a different match. People love this guy, and they ride it till they ruin it.
Man, they ruined it pretty fast. Okay, critique your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it was a very good shot call to do. I thought they would have, with sort of WWE booking nowadays, I feel like they would have done the Hogan Goldberg's match, the Nitro after following the pay-per-view, but the fact that they did it before is kind of a good like swerve, like, oh, you don't know what to expect. So yeah, it was, to me, the benefit is all on Goldberg because I remember a lot of people, especially in Chicago, were like, "Oh, Rodman's going to be on that Nitro." So there was like, again, mainstream attention on that Nitro. There was mainstream attention on that pay per view, and Goldberg got to look like $1 million on that Nitro, and the crowd does go nuts. Again, it was hometown, so I like the fact that it happened again. WCW is doing the anti Vince McMahon thing, like, "Hey, you're gonna win you're gonna have these hometown moments." They did that with Luger too when he won the Nitro. I believe that was in Michigan where he's from. So like they're giving guys these good moments in their hometown. So I think that's kudos on them. And again, Goldberg delivered. You can say what you want nowadays about he's not happy and he wasn't safe or whatever, but in the moment at that time, it was a good look for Goldberg. It made him look like $1 million. He looked like $1 million in this match. Again, I don't think enough credit goes to Kurt Hennig. I think he is a good, as people say, dance partner. He was a great dance partner over the years. Uh, I don't know. Did I believe Bret Hart in WCW did face Kurt Hennig once or twice because I know he said that Mr. Perfect is like one of his favorite opponents ever. So yeah, but I think Mr. Perfect is a perfect opponent for everybody. He knows how to work people and make people look like great when they're injured. You know, I think he is. I don't think he gets enough due. I'm glad he wasn't put in the legacy wing. I'm glad he got a full induction with his
Oh my
family.
God. I think people
I
would
can't get enough
riot.
of this. But
They would
no, I think
riot.
not enough is said about Mr. Perfect. So work rate and making people look good. So yeah, kudos to Henning for making Goldberg look like $1 million. And this was a great appetizer for the main event. It kept again talk about we've seen on previous pay per views where the crowd's energy just dwindles or peters out. They're actually doing a really good job piquing the crowd's interest and keeping them engaged the whole show. So I think placement on this card it was perfect.
Would you say he's
Right.
absolutely perfect?
Mm.
Absolutely perfect.
All right, let's get to the main event. The reason why everyone's here. It's very impressive that they got this. I do feel like it's really this is a really impressive coup, I think. Hulk Hogan and Dennis Rodman take on DDP and Karl Malone. The fact that these two guys were just in the playoffs, it's the hottest team in the history of NBA, the Bulls, and now they're having a wrestling match where they go back and forth. I don't think enough is talked about what a coup that is, and what a big accomplishment that is. I just can't imagine that happening nowadays in modern sports. I can't imagine like LeBron and I don't know whoever the fuck. I don't know if it's the Lakers versus
Steph Curry, LeBron fighting.
if it's the
Yeah.
Lakers versus the Knicks. I can't see like AEW a month later having LeBron and Kenny Omega versus MJF and whoever the fuck was on the Knicks. I don't know, and I'm a Knicks fan, but you get my point. I just can't see that happening. I just don't think the NBA would allow it. I think the athletes would be nervous. But what a fucking coup. The match is what it is. What I like about Dennis Rodman is he seems like a guy who's not trained, but he's just trying to fight. By the way, the shirt that Rodman's wearing, they are selling in WWE shop, but they have a big fucking WWE logo on it, so it makes it
Oh
useless.
fuck.
Yeah, like, why can't you just leave the shirt the way it is? And you're overcharging. It's like $40. I guarantee you it was like $25 back in the day. Um,
Go to eBay and find an original.
Stick this whole thing. But the match is fine. The match is good. Karl Malone gets a little revenge, beating up the ref. But this is the thing when you watch this match. It's like Hogan did what he had to do, but it's back to business as usual. Like Hulk Hogan celebrates for like the match ends and there's like 5 minutes left on the feed, and I'm like, what are they going to do for the next 5 minutes? And it's just Hulk Hogan slowly celebrating his victory, screaming Goldberg's next. But this match was pretty good. Carmelo was in an amazing shape. I mean, the guy looks bigger than fucking Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. I mean, he looks and I wish Carmelo wrestled some more. I think he had more aptitude for it than even Dennis Rodman. But it's a really good main event. I mean, it's even harder because you have two non wrestlers as opposed to last year. There's three wrestlers guiding a newbie around. Now you got two guys who are new, and DDP. Look, DDP in the 2 years goes from having a shitty match on the undercard to guiding one of the biggest NBA stars and how to wrestle with the other big NBA star. You got three huge stars in the world in DDP in the ring, and he looks like he belongs. And I think his association with Karl Malone is they show him on camera a lot during the playoffs and the finals. Really helped him to be where he is today. It was a very important test for DDP, and he passed it. I enjoyed the match. Is it the greatest thing ever? No, but it's very good and it's very, very impressive they pulled this off. Kyle, your thoughts?
I mean, this match is not. I mean, of course, people are going to probably use this and make fun of the match and the work rate of this match and da da da. But look who you're in the ring with: Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone. These guys just tried and they actually like gave it. They gave a shit. They did the best that they could with the
Yeah,
talent given. They took some slams. They took bumps. They tried to take use to give each other bumps. Multiple diamond cutters. They were having the time of their lives in that ring, and you could see it in the ring. You could see it in the match. The crowd was eating it up. Uh, I'm sure watching it back and reviewing it, like I see some of the Wikipedia ones were like, "This was terrible." Like they don't. That's not what it was about. It was just you were sports entertained, as the kids like to say, and that's what that was. It was just some things are not there. Some things are not Omega Okada, you know? Some things are just awesome, fun sports entertainment matches, and this was one of them. And yeah, the NWO won. They're back to getting their momentum back. I do think it celebrated a little too long, but overall, it was kind of fun to watch. Fun to watch, and to see it now, yeah, I don't think you'd get the level of star. You would get a Jalen Brunson, or you'd get a Tyrese Halliburton, the guys who are like in with WWE now, the basketball guys, NBA guys, but you wouldn't get the level of LeBron. LeBron's also like pushing, he's getting up there. He's not getting in no rings anytime soon. But
Oh,
you're
Um,
you get
oh,
Andrew Schultz. It'll be Andrew Schultz
oh my
and
God.
Logan
Oh
Paul
no.
against Tony Hinchcliffe and the LA Knight,
Oh my God.
which could
Tony,
be legit be a WrestleMania match announced next week at the Garden. And I hope I'm 100% wrong.
yeah, God,
And Schultz is in that Mortal Kombat movie, so you know he could do something.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's Street
You're
Fighter.
gonna
He's in
pair him
Street
up with.
Fighter. He took the
we need
shot.
Kane to come back and bully him like they did when he started. All right. Yeah, it's what's my whole point is
Critiques, comments.
yeah, Pratik's comments. Yeah,
Yeah,
you critique.
so talk about a match where there's so many months of build. I mean, Bischoff has said Bischoff claims on his podcast that he told Rodman and Malone to get physical in the playoffs to kind of allude to there being physicality. Now, whether that was true or not, I don't know. But I do remember in the playoffs being like, "Whoa, they don't like each other," and then finding out that they're going to fight each other, being like, "Whoa, this is the greatest thing ever." So it is that thing of you built this up, you have a real life conflict from the finals. I mean, it worked out perfectly that they were in the finals, and it worked out so well. um, I remember, yeah, I know NWO was the heel, but like I was a big Rodman fan being from Chicago, so I was in awe of, oh, Rodman's, and even and that was the thing. Rodman didn't make it look like he was here to be this like big technical wrestler, but he knew ring psychology. You can say whatever you want, and he knew the ring psychology, and he made it physical. There's like physical moments in this match. I'm not saying it's a 5-star Tokyo Dome Classic, but it's a physical match. There's moments where they're taking bumps from like, whoa, this is this is pretty rough. It looks stiff. I was trying to show. I have the McDonald's. I got the blurred screen, but it's the McDonald's Rodman Cup. I thought I'd pull that out.
It's like they blurred it for you, like, oh, we don't have the rights to
We
show
don't have the
this.
rights to this McDonald's Cup, but I remember these.
Yeah.
Rodman was everywhere. Like, talk about like athletes who are larger than life. Like, I don't. Yeah, the equivalent today. I know Jalen Brunson has done like some backstage thing with WWE, and he's taking pictures of Booker T, and he gets a little physical in the ring, whatever. But like, at the these people were like rock stars back then. Like, imagine, yeah, I think the closest thing is like if supposedly Tom Brady gets involved, which I don't know, I think that's just all some dumb work or whatever, but it would be equivalent of that. Bad Bunny gets involved, he's like the biggest star. Like that's the closest thing to it. But nowadays you would have to be more physical, you would have to train properly. I feel like back, I don't know, I'm sure Malone and Rodman did do some.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You're forgetting the most important of all, Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll has done some
Yeah,
physical. I believe he will be in Mania. I don't know who he's gonna fight. Uh,
Promo of the year last week, apparently.
I didn't mind their SummerSlam match actually with Orton, because again, you're pairing it up with guys who know what they're doing, so it works. And I think that's what worked here too, is you had a tag match where people could shine. But yes, Malone looked like $1 million. Why he didn't wrestle again? Maybe just interest or whatever. Maybe he want to. And there was gonna be a lockout too. People forget right after
Mm.
this fall. There's a lockout, so there was plenty of more time for Malone to show up. Rodman could have showed up more. And again, we know Rodman's going in the Hall of Fame, so I do think people argue that, well, Rodman doesn't deserve to be in, but like he was showing up on TV. He was making moments, raising the profile of wrestling. I know a lot of people. I had a lot of friends who didn't watch wrestling like me, but they were like interested in this match. Again, bringing mainstream. I still remember the newspaper. I have it somewhere. I have the newspaper from the fight they had on Tonight Show. I have the newspaper clipping that has the photo of Rodman and Hogan being separated. Like, the fact that this carried over to like a talk show angle as well. Like, we don't see that a ton. Like this is harkening back to the Kaufman Jerry Lawler days on Letterman. Like this was a big deal at the time. This was the talk. I remember the shirt for the main event like being all over like the department store. Like when was the last time like the all four guys on a shirt was like in a like a huge thing. Like it was monumental. And yeah, is the match perfect? No, but I can go back and watch it and maybe there's a bias that I have, sure, but it's still like it works psychology. It's still physical. And again, the biggest thing is the crowd. The crowd is on their feet. We've watched some WCW main events now. We've seen when the lead balloon happens and the crowd deflates.
Hmm.
The crowd does not deflate. They are on board with this. And it's a what 23-minute match. It wasn't like they didn't give you just a little 10-minute jerk off session. This is a good 25-minute match. They even have moments where they cut to the audience or whatever. So yeah, crowd's on board. It works. Good location for it. I think it would have been cooler to be in Chicago. Selfishly, I would have liked it to have been in Chicago, but it worked in San Diego. The crowd was on board. This was a shining moment for 1998 WCW. It's a shame that they dropped the entire ball later. So, but for the purposes of this match, it works, and everybody played their part well. I think that's what's important.
The thing about it is that like they had three celebrities on this show wrestling, and they all deliver. You
Mm-hmm.
can't say like WCW's doing great, and then fucking they did Dennis Rodman and Karl Malone half-assed it or something. Or no, these guys, Kevin Green, Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, all delivered. They did all they could to help WCW turn around what was happening in WWF, and they had this summer they have such a big leg up with WWF being so involved in a playoff series that sports fans still talk about today. It's still a hotly debated era in the NBA, and the fact that they didn't use it to capitalize is a whole other story which we'll get into next time. But yeah, overall a really good show, and overall like you can't put any of the blame on what happens the rest of the year on Malone or Rodman. They came in, they did their fucking job, and it's on Bischoff, Hogan, and honestly Tony Khan that they
Okay.
didn't.
A 10-year-old Tony Khan on the message
Okay.
boards. He probably didn't like this match, though, to be honest, knowing 10-year-old Tony Khan.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows what he liked back then? I know he's a big ECW guy.
No, he liked ECW, yes.
Yeah.
I've heard like I'm talking like Japanese fans say that the first Rodman match is one of the top WCW matches of the WCW tenure. And so I think wrestling fans do like these Rodman matches. I think there's some people who are just like they see a celebrity and they just assume it's dog shit, and that's not what this match is.
No, I think when you see that the wrestler's trying, especially like it's not I was gonna use her and this is a bad example. But when you see a wrestler that's trying, you care more.
Mm.
You're like, okay, they're putting their all into it. Then I'm going to be invested in the match as well. Because the person's not just there for a quick buck. They're getting their money, but they're taking the bumps, they're working through, they're being respectful. And I think fans, the wrestling, sports entertainment appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think that like if you're someone like Mr. T or Dennis Rodman and you go into wrestling and I think you do deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because if let's say DDP fucks up Rodman by accident, his NBA career is over. You know what that's
Mhm.
going to cost the Bulls? You know what the controversy and all he's going to lose? Or Mr. T like gets fucked up by Roddy Piper by accident.
And he can't go up at 18. Yeah, yeah.
That was
Eight,
his fear.
it's in trouble. Like, so it's like you, and I'm sure Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan know, like, listen, if you cost NBC this show, I'm fucked and I will kill all of you. But at the same time, you don't know that if you're Mr. T or Karl Malone. You don't know. Like maybe DDP was like gonna like do something to Rodman just to be like, oh, I'm tough. And you don't know. You don't know. And so, oh, it was an accident. You're putting your body in the hands of these people, and there's a lot more at stake. I'm sorry to say. Bad Bunny gets paralyzed, or fucking Jelly Roll gets
Kelly Rowe.
paralyzed, or Dennis Rodman. A lot more at stake for a lot of people than like fucking Adam Cole. I'm sorry to say that, just the way it is.
I mean, we didn't have to end this way. It was
Man, Cole's getting out dragged in the breast.
Big,
uh,
big implications for like NBA players and everything.
no,
And
I understand.
There's a
to
lot of
Rick,
liability.
there's
Yes.
and to risk and to put your body in the hands of DDP or Luger or Giant or Macho Man in a year. I think it takes a lot of guts.
I
And
mean, look at it. It does. But I mean, even look at the wrestlers that moved to Hollywood, switched transitions to Hollywood. You got The Rock and John Cena. The reason we didn't see them as much, no, John Cena was like, I wanted to do all the dates. You weren't doing all the dates. You
he
have
got
all
in,
these movies and
also,
insurance. What happened?
he got injured at WrestleMania 29 and like the
Yeah,
movie.
it
The
cost. It
Rock,
cost.
yes, The Rock
Yeah,
couldn't. Yeah, the
yeah.
movie got yeah.
So like, yeah, it is something that happens, and it happened. It happened to The Rock, and people were concerned about Cena, so this is why we don't see them as much. I mean, that and The Rock being 50, but this is why we don't see
Uh,
them as much because you don't want a match, even with some of the most talented, like safest wrestlers, uh, jeopardizing whatever movies you have, and a lot of money and a lot of production and a lot of Hollywood stuff that some fans may not think of, but a lot of people's stuff is on the line.
Yeah, that's right. Critique. I know you tried to hurt Rodman, but it's not going to happen.
I hurt the cup. To me, this is a perfect example of this isn't necessarily this is sports entertainment. This is the perfect marriage of sports and
Oh yeah.
that's what this feels like. And you have to give you look. I know obviously we can say all we want about Hogan, the backstager, and all that stuff, but Hogan is a good example of someone who knows how to. He was involved in the first WrestleMania with Mr. T. Like he knows how to work well with sort of the entertainment side of things. And I think all the players these were the right people to be in this match, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does make sense. Okay, let's talk about the next 4 weeks. Next week is Fully Loaded 98. The main event of that is Steve Austin and Undertaker versus Mankind and Kane.
Another
In two
tag match.
ECW Heatwave 98, the main event of that is the Dudley Boys versus Team Tommy Dreamer. In 3 weeks, it's Road Wild 98 and also a WrestleMania preview show. We'll talk about that in a little bit. With
Mm.
featuring Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff versus DDP and Jay Leno. Uh,
Yeah.
it's SummerSlam 98, which was the first pay per view I ever went to see live. And that one features Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Undertaker. What are you looking forward to?
I have no idea. Maybe let's go with a fully loaded right now because I don't remember much besides the tag match.
Okay, and you, Killer Kyle?
Critique.
I
You,
mean, sorry. My cousin.
Heat Wave 98 will be something because I never watched that pay per view full all the way through, so that's gonna be interesting for me. And then I am interested in the rest of the undercard for the road the was it the Fall Brawl Road Wild like yeah I only remember the main event, but I'm curious about the undercard. Let's see how WCW fares, and I'm not optimistic.
I am not optimistic either, but we'll see. Actually, I didn't. That show's interesting show. So, Kyle, give us your plugs, and then Pratik, give us your plugs.
Character Select Comedy is back at the stand 6 o'clock, April 4th and May 2nd. So both tickets are available now. Actually, no, I think only April 4th is available, but May 2nd will be available soon. So please get your tickets and hang out with us.
Yes, and Pratik, your plugs.
Prateek Comedy, Prateek is my first name comedy on my Instagram and YouTube. Also, if you're familiar with, it's called Armored MMA. It's where they fight in knights in shining armor and they have combat. You might see my face on that. I can't get into too
Mm.
many details just yet. Things are being signed, but you might be seeing my face on Armored MMA. They're coming to Nashville next week, and they're going to be in the greater Illinois area throughout June. But go to armoredmma.com and you might see a familiar face on there. That's all I can say.
Yes, and as for me, please follow the podcast. Thank you for your support. We had a big week this week. People downloading the podcast. The numbers are up. I guess because they're excited about McFoley dying on the Hell in a
Oof.
Cell. They want to talk about it,
Yeah,
but
you gotta be careful with that.
well, I meant like on the Hell in a Cell,
No,
and
I know you don't know what's gonna happen.
we know. I'll tell you, if it didn't happen yet, it's not going to happen this week. Yeah, so please subscribe, follow us, leave us comments, leave us a review, and thank you so much for listening. And we'll be back next week where we're not going to be half loaded, we're going to be fully loaded, and we'll see you then. Thank you.